I am gonna
Yeah,
go
ma'am.
live in 3, 2, 1. And we are live. Good evening, everybody.
Woo!
Welcome to another evening episode of Delicious Divinations. We got various Sine Waves and Tod, like usual. We are on the Tartaria chat, and we may have some guests. We'll find out, I guess.
It might happen. That might pop in.
Yeah.
We're here. Anybody wants to join us, so just come on in and join the conversation. I'll let you talk, I promise. Oh,
Maybe.
so, right. What do we got? Episode 14. We got Osiris today.
Oh,
The
yes.
crystalline structures. Which I didn't study for. But
That's okay.
that's not how divination works, so it's okay. So the 14th episode, and let's run down the vibes real quick, Todd. Run us
Okay.
down on your side there. It's been a week. What have you been feeling?
Um.
Or
Well,
feeling,
yeah.
seeing, or synchronizing, or
Sure. Yeah. I've noticed that. Hold on one second.
hmm
Okay. For me, it's been interesting. It seems like that energy, the chaos energy, is sort of dissipating a little bit, which is kind of nice. Um,
Okay.
but
Yeah, I
I
feel
had
that.
I had an interesting experience. I guess yesterday or no, Friday. With
Friday.
I was
Okay.
at a festival selling my wares, and there was musicians, and one, this is kind of a weird story, but one of them was playing some horribly depressing music, and like I
Uh-huh.
literally watched, like I could see the waves come out from the stage, and you like because we were like basically in a field, and then it's surrounded by trees. And I kid you not, like this music was so depressing. I literally saw like the trees depressed. They're just like womp, like
Wow.
just like
What kind of instrument?
it's just like
Was it a guitar?
guitar. Yeah, it was like old time, like not old, but like Grateful Dead style, like music, I guess you would
Yeah.
call it. But man, it was such a buzzkill. Like I literally saw the energy of the trees and everything, just like womp, and everybody like kind of womp, and I was like, ugh, like turn it off.
Wow, it's a descending takeaway energy. Yeah,
Yeah, it was really interesting to see that.
that
But
was Friday
otherwise,
night.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know, man. It's been good, I guess. I've been working a lot, so uh, I'm not
Yeah.
seeing as many things, not paying attention to as many things too. So,
Right, I hear you, man.
how
I
about
hear you.
yourself, man?
It was it's a decent week. I've kind of been tackling just the property myself, keeping all the animals and everything good. Amy's out of town in Florida, down at my mom's, enjoying some time.
Nice.
She'll be back soon. But I had to work all week for the first, like, go into work all week for the first time in over a year. So that
Oh
was
wow.
neat. But it was nice to get that because it's an hour drive one way, so I can get some good podcasts in or some good knowledge things or just some good music relaxing, too. I usually alternate like every other day. I'll do like a music day, then a podcast day, just kind of whatever kind of mood I'm feeling. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like every other. I like to just switch it up. I like constant change. So,
Yeah. I feel you, man.
and
I've been
we might get into astrology today, but
sure.
it probably is going to go into I have a Jupiter conjunct Uranus and Scorpio, so
Hmm.
those are two slower moving bodies, so it's a very present thing, and it's in my second house, so it's very in my individuality location, which is in my area of thought. So it just shows you that my thought energy, which Jupiter is like expansive, kind of astral. It's like thought that can feel. It's
Hmm.
like empathy, or it's like the ability to feel someone else's pain or someone else's joy. It's just a thinking through that style of flavor, I guess you would say. And then I have it with Uranus, which is like total electric change, just massive amounts of consciousness. Anything goes. Flip the tables over. We're doing this, and it's also the
Interesting.
house of finance, house of possessions. So I get bursts of things in my life. That's how my jobs have always been. Like I'll get a decent job and then, something life change will happen and then I'll be doing this. And so
Mm.
it's there. But where was I going? Oh yeah, so back to work. I'm just enjoying, it's not too bad, I kind of like working at home though, as much as I love people. I
Yeah.
really love face-to-face interaction, but I want to save that. I think I found that like I want to save my face-to-face stuff if I can for very enjoyable, like, festival things, music things, just where
Mm.
it doesn't necessarily have to be the 9 to 5 face-to-face situation, but I'm not opposed to it. Like I very much enjoy that.
Yeah.
And it's just I really like the idea of not having to drive a couple hours a day
Yeah, dude,
and
that's
maybe
hard,
hit a
man.
deer. I mean, there's a lot of deer on the roads I'm on.
Mm.
So,
Dang,
but
man.
other than
Uh,
that, yesterday was really neat. I went over to the gorge again, and I pulled up to the spot I always go to for 5 years, and then there was another tent kind of in this my spot, pretty much. Well, it's not my spot, but just
uh-oh.
this beautiful spot that I've like. It's not a normal pull off camping area. It's kind of like kind of hidden, and then when you get in there, it opens up to this big sandy beach and shit. It's nice. Anyways, and there's not a lot of like sandy areas and wooded forests, so this is a beautiful, dry, sandy area. It kind of keeps the mosquitoes off you.
Hmm.
But there was another tent there, so I set up over on this other sandbank, and then these two guys show up, and they're from Columbus, Indiana. So right away, I'm like, oh shit, that's where Todd's at,
Oh,
and
Columbus, Ohio.
or Columbus, Ohio. I'm
Oh, word.
sorry.
Okay.
My
Okay.
bad, my bad.
That's all good.
With the gorge gets a ton of Ohio people
Oh,
coming
cool.
down.
Nice.
It's like just known for that. I guess there's not a ton of awesome camping in Ohio. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's kind of
Hmm.
flat. So
Yeah.
I don't
Not a lot of
know.
mountains or hills.
Right, right. So people kind of go down south, only a couple hours, 2, 3 hours.
Hmm.
Anyways, they were both. That was Sandy and Cyrus. One of them was like currently going to Ohio State, and the other one had graduated at Vanderbilt. The one guy
Wow.
made bourbon for a living, and then they both were on like ultimate frisbee teams. One of them was on the college team. I mean, it was a neat.
Cool.
They were like they had ethnicity, so I think they were some kind of, I don't even know, like Northern Europe-ish. I mean,
Hmm.
they had but like an India flavor too, a little bit.
Weird.
I don't know how to describe it, but they were really nice. They were struggling, like chopping up firewood or something, or breaking sticks off another tree. So I ripped the chainsaw out, cut up a bunch of wood, gave them a couple logs, and then later on, they hollered at me if I wanted a dinner plate, and the one guy was a vegetarian like me, so he made up a big like curry rice meal, and it was bomb.
Wow, that's
I
awesome.
mean, so then we ended up chatting for probably 3 hours, just like chatting about the stars, chatting about the idea of an infinite God, or just all these different. It
Hmm.
was it was awesome. I mean, it was really
That's
a
so
real
cool.
good blessing. And
Yeah.
then on the way out, it was weird. They got up before me, and I kind of then once I heard them up, I was like, yeah, I got to get back in case the podcast is at 10. I
Oh.
forgot we planned it at 6. Anyways, I just got my shit going, and plus I kind of had to go to the bathroom, so I was rushing. It's about a 5-mile drive to the little gas station. Plus I had to fill up some waters, like 4 water jugs, so I just was ready to get going. Anyways, that I leave before them, and I end up packing up my stuff pretty quick. I fill up the waters. I go to the gas station. I'm going to the bathroom, and yeah, it's taking me a while. I go to get done. I walk out of the bathroom, and then when I walk out of the stall, Cyrus, one of the guys, is standing there. He's gonna go to the bathroom.
Wow.
So we kind of like met up again, and then they end up leaving ahead of me out of the gas station, and then I don't know, 10 miles down the highway, I'm right with them in the same pile of traffic, and then I'm right with them all the way to the turnoff till Cincinnati. So it was just like a weird, energetic, kind of kept us connected meetup thing, which is neat. I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
We didn't exchange numbers or nothing. It was just kind of uh hey, we both know this spot's here. I told them I'd chop up some firewood, leave it in the bushes if they ever want to come down, get another break, you know.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
yeah, maybe we'll see Cyrus and Sandy again someday down there. Who knows? If not, no worries. But yeah, same vibes, man. Chaos is lessening. We've got Mercury going direct now, so things should be smoother with day to day, everything gelling together. Like you shouldn't be bumping into things too much or dropping, fumbling things. Like your things should go to work the first time, like when you plug your phone in, and
Yeah.
it's a little less frustrating, which is nice. But yeah, kind of hard work is the way I feel. Like just a lot of
Yeah.
work. I'm
Hmm.
chasing the clock. I've got all these things I've got to do.
Yeah. I
I
feel that
don't, I
too.
don't really, I don't have enough time to do them, so I'm gonna have to prioritize like what I want to get done, and I
Mm.
mean that's kind of how my life always is, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it feels a little extra right now with that kind of stuff.
Mm.
But you know,
Yeah,
man.
I definitely feel you there. Yeah, it's like a work mode. Yeah.
Mhm. And then today, I never do this, but I got back about 10 something this morning, just kind of I cleaned the house. I clean the house. I won't say I never do that, but started cleaning the house. But the part I never do was take a nap.
Oh, nice.
About after my run, after I ate, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try to take a couple hour nap before the show. I'm kind of tired. I'm not really feeling it, you know.
Yeah.
Just feeling kind of blah, like which was nice because I thought we were gonna have maybe some Tartaria guys on, and I could be more of a listener and just just kind of bounce off each other and like old times. And it might still happen. We don't know.
Sure.
But anyways, the dreams I had were just very intense. Like I might start doing this when I can find the time to take those little 2 hour day naps because I loved it. I mean,
Wow.
at one point, I had to force myself up because I thought I was awake driving in this dream,
Oh, shoot.
and I realized I was sleeping. So I was like, oh, fuck. But that's what that squealing sound is. It's my tires skidding out. So I like shot up on the bed and I was like, oh, woo! I laid back down. And then I ended up having like another good hour of intense different dreams in and out, like very intense. I was listening to a Bill Donahue. If anybody knows about Bill Donahue, he just put a video. Well, he did all his videos in like the 80s and 90s on VHS, and he has so many of them, and he uploads one every once in a while. Well, he just uploaded one called The Green Thing or something like that. Well, he might have uploaded it a while ago, but it's his latest video. If you click on Bill Donahue and then his videos, it's the top of the list.
Okay.
Anyways, it's about an hour long, and that was the start of when I laid down. I just set that on just for some, just listening background stuff, some stuff to kind of think about, meditate on. And it was all about ayahuasca pretty much and
Mm.
chlorophyll and the one light that gives all life, which is green light. Green is the center of the color spectrum.
Mm.
And it pretty much went off into the story of discovering ayahuasca of America pretty much it getting westernized when the doctor went down. It ran into this tribe of people in the woods and they knew how to cure everything like snake bites, different all these diseases, and like it was verifiable scientific evidence that they had, and they asked the people, where did you get this information? And they're like, well, we drink this tea or this plant,
Hmm.
and it tells us. It gives us the atomic. It tells us anything we need to know. It
Yeah.
guides us, and like, that's weird, And then he thought it was really weird when they had to combine two different plants and boil them together because they had to make it past the stomach enzymes and whatnot in order to get it to the brain, to get the hallucinogenics, to get the message pretty much.
Right.
And it ends up getting Bill Donahue got into it that light is a messenger, photons are messengers, and the doctor was trying to argue that the information was being released from the person's brain based upon the hallucination, so the human had the information. And what the shaman or the tribes people were saying is that no, the information was coming from the plant, not from us. And that would be like the outside. And then the doctor asked, well, how did you find these plants? And then they said that the plants told us. And
Mm,
to me, that's just a really good knowledge of your surroundings. Like when you're
yeah.
walking through the woods, the plants are speaking to you about what they are based upon their colors, their locations, their
Smell.
health. I mean, there's so much knowledge in the physical appearance of a tree. It's not even funny.
Right.
But the Western mind, the scientific mind takes something like that literally, like it's saying words to me out loud.
Yeah.
And that's how its argument was. The doctor's argument was that only humans can talk about abstract symbols and the kind of things that you would need in order to explain the molecular process to solve this disease, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And this is impossible. And guess what? Of course, he ends up trying it. And this guy's some super Stanford doctor, like got the top of his class, and just running some section of the country. Everybody cares about his opinion. So when he went to take the actual substance, people were like, "Oh no, you shouldn't do that. It's like junk or
Yeah.
something like that." And then he ends up writing a book called The Fiery Cosmic Serpent, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
his basis is that um, there's things that you experience under these hallucinogenic situations that are beyond your capabilities and imagination, and this is how you know that
Oh,
it's coming from somewhere outside of you. He's like these fiery dragons that I witnessed were beyond something that I could think of or create in my mind or
hmm.
in my imagination. This was much more beyond me. And that, I guess, was his proof once
Yeah.
he experienced it. So, I don't know, just a neat little
Yeah, that's amazing.
thing there. But yeah, man, I love the little cat naps in the afternoon. I mean,
Yeah.
it's intense. Yeah, I mean, I had some powerful stuff going on in there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I
That's
feel it.
awesome.
Like, I feel like I just freaking, I don't know where I went, but oh Lord, yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, naps are good for you, man. I'm not very good at them. I've always like I try, but
Right.
it's a
This
discipline.
time I just was fighting myself to stay awake. I mean, I was maybe all
Wow.
Bill Donahue's videos are about an hour, and I was about 20 minutes in, just trying to, stay with it. And it was, I just fucking passed out, and it was great. I loved it.
You probably needed the sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Um, because I ate a mushroom last night, and for some reason, when I do that, I have to go pee like every 2 hours. Like I
Yeah.
drink a ton of water normally.
Yeah.
So I think what mushrooms might do is they might dry you out a little bit in some way. Like whatever, I think it's like a pressure cooker. Like it's warming you up super intensely inside, and it's forcing the inner water to replenish itself. So it's like a purge system.
Mm.
And I was peeing clear water, so I wasn't like I was getting rid of like stuff I was should have been holding on to or anything, but um, I don't know. I mean, I didn't sleep that great, but does that kind of stuff happen to you? Do your bladder and bowels? I mean, your body systems change, I'm sure, when you're on that. Like, you're definitely your appetite, right?
Yeah, I mean, with mushrooms, I
On a
can.
larger dose, but
Yeah.
I mean, I only had one,
I mean, to
like
be
maybe half.
honest, when
And
I was tripping all the time, like I would skip eating, like so I didn't really would have that happen. But sometimes, like the times where I just did mushrooms or whatever, was like hanging out or like did a whole bunch. Like yeah, you like
right,
I feel like if you fast, you definitely get rid of that issue because you just don't have anything
right.
there and you know that, so you don't even think about it.
Look
But
at
if
that
you think
word
about it, you
too.
start doing it. Yeah,
Look at the word fasting. It's
yeah,
fast 10.
yeah.
I mean, Jupiter is 10. Jupiter's the gut mind.
Mm.
And, Jupiter's real slow, bogged down in density on that, the denser foods. So if you feed it, that real light food, it doesn't have to do too much to get things where they need to go. It's real quicksilver.
Hmm.
But that's always the healthiest way through any kind of diseases. Well, self
Yeah,
knowledge first,
fasting
second
is awesome for
fast.
you. Yeah. Hmm. That's
Yeah,
why they say
that's so
break
crazy
fast.
that it's like a heal all. I mean, it literally will.
Yeah.
It'll kill you too. Obviously, there's a point.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking about just some simple ones like doing like just a watermelon 30 days, I mean, or just nuts or seeds. I mean, I
Hmm.
don't know. Just experiment just to because then you can know some things. I mean, try to find like one thing that has a pretty good group of stuff in it, and then just go water in that for a couple weeks just to study that one thing, how it treats your body. Or I don't know. A bunch of people probably, oh, that's horrible. You need this and that. You already have everything you need. All this stuff we're doing is just bonus experience. That's all it is. This is all the image where it's one giant system of light. So I mean, you believe that the food nourishes you, and then that's what nourishes you is the belief that it's substance. That's what's actually happening is you
Yeah.
believe in it.
That's why
It's
the
just
quality
like on Hook.
matters.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like on Hook when Peter was had to believe in the food and then it became real and all the colors appeared.
Hmm.
I mean, that's pretty much what you have to do here. You have to. That's why it is a placebo pill system. That's why nothing can really hurt you.
That's funny.
Like if you really knew that, like if you really believe that there's nothing, it's not that which goeth in that defileth a man, but that which cometh out, then nothing would hurt you. No vaccine, no 5G, no GMO, no sugars, no any kind of drug, no nothing. It's the lustful thoughts that go out, or the greedy desires, or the reaction of things going in that
Yeah.
happens. I mean, whatever output you have from that, because a lot of times in our system we can't help our inputs. I mean, the quality of air that we're breathing is not something we can always have a direct control over, but the way we breathe is something that we can have a direct control over. So there's
Yeah.
many little like tips and tricks all over the place, and with you at the command center in the middle, and it's
Do
really the
you
key, I think, in the system.
do you know about the nocebo effect?
No, tell me.
So I just learned this. I watched a show called Legion. It's based on a Marvel character, but it's really good.
Okay.
Highly recommended. Honestly, it's super psychedelic, um,
Okay.
and tons of esoteric knowledge. In the second season, they do these little PSAs, and they talk about specifically. It starts talking about delusions, and then they have little PSA sections that are like really well made, and they are literally it's like esoteric knowledge is just dumping right on your plate. And the one is about it's called the nocebo effect, which is basically
Hmm.
telling a person that this is going to do something and they just believe in it. And like it opens with like a woman pouring like an orange juice or something and telling the guy that he's going to throw up, and it works. Apparently it's a real thing. Like if you google it, you'll
Wow.
find research that if you just say something, people, if they believe it, it can manifest, it can happen, and it tends to do
Right.
that. So it's very, the fact that we
I
even
think this
believe
is
in those things, including placebo, should wake you up a little bit.
right, right. Yeah, batteries not included, man. You got to bring something to the table to
Yeah.
bring it to life.
Yeah.
Like
So
Frankenstein.
you
You got to
create the
put the belief
reality.
in.
So if you believe in
You
it,
really
you get
do.
what you believe in.
I think that's why there's not going to be anything like in having an excuse or, oh, these people didn't know, it's not their fault. I mean, there's not going to be anything like that anywhere because it's a create as you go situation in the constant now.
Yeah.
It's a constant, what are you holding on to? What are you carrying? What do you stand for? I mean, there's this overall just moment of that constant now that your being is, and all of your future exists in it. You just can't see it from the particular spot you're sitting in. Same thing with all of your past, and you kind of can see the past because you are the collection of your entire past in that one moment, and this is
Hmm.
only from the perspective of time. I mean,
Right.
this is just one of our perspectives, having a centralized location. We have a whole nother aspect where we don't have a centralized location. So we are outside of time because we're in more than one place at the same time.
Yeah, that show
Therefore,
explains
making
it
it,
too. It explains how that works. They talk about how the astral realm works, which I think is pretty much spot on.
that's
They teach
cool.
you about
Is it episode based or is it like a
Yes, but
movie?
it's over. It's done. Like it's 3 seasons. I think each season's about 10 episodes or so. So it's
Oh,
a
so you can just buy the
finish.
box set.
You could,
That's cool.
yes, yeah, yeah. I
That's
don't like
cool.
ending,
Might
never
I
ending
might look on
shows.
eBay, try to find it on eBay or something. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
still
good
trying to
show.
get through Breaking Bad. We've
Oh,
it's taken us like 3 or 4 months, and I
oh
think we're in
no.
season 3. We're
Oh.
slow. We're just so slow. I mean, we typically maybe a Saturday or a Friday night we'll watch an episode of two. Try that. We're just trying to be normal.
Right.
But
Trying to be normal. Dude,
some of
that.
them are okay. I'm using it for Amy to train her fear because
Oh.
she's attacked by the image. Like the image can really affect her,
That's
very much so.
understandable, though.
So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I have to be. I didn't know when we first met, and I had to be really careful with my words because my words paint a real vivid picture in her
Mm-hmm.
head, and so some things I think I'm joking, but I don't
Yeah.
understand the ability of somebody to not absorb or to. I mean, because sound is an image, so people hear a certain way, and my partner hears in a picture. Like she gets
Yep.
anything you say, she gets this image in front of her, and
That's me too.
um,
Yep, I do that.
so like the whole like season 1 with like Tuco and shit, like she was just on the edge of her seat. Like she had to keep getting up, and like
Well,
it was
she should stop
stressful.
watching it then because she's not gonna like how it goes. Just to be real. I can
Yeah,
tell
I
you, it
know.
doesn't. It's a. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of that show because people really love it, but like, I don't want to
Right,
spoil it or
right.
anything for you guys, but man, I don't. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll just say that.
Yeah, when we're watching it, we're looking at the astrology in it.
Oh,
I mean,
cool.
we can see Walt is Saturn. I mean, he drives a Saturn, and then you've got his spouse is Jupiter. She drives a Jeep,
Hmm.
and so it's neat to kind of watch. And then you've got Jesse as Mars, I think,
I can see
and
that.
then the chicken boss guy, he's Pluto.
Hmm.
Um,
I can see that. Yeah.
he's the guy that drives the Volvo.
Hmm.
And then definitely Jesse Mars, the emotional reaction, always getting the shit beat out of him everywhere. Just
Hmm.
um, yeah, man. I don't know. And then but yeah, it's okay. Like you said, there's a lot of better ones out there. I was just going off of and that's probably why we haven't made it through it. We're just
Yeah.
I mean, it just hasn't really hooked us, and that we don't like the way that Walt acts. Like
Oh yeah. Well,
they,
it doesn't
they
get
keep
better. I'll
making.
just say
I know it.
that.
I know it. And I've
So.
already seen it, but she hasn't. So I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
but like I wish they would show like a real Saturn with real duty, like
Oh,
a
watch Legion
real.
then. Just switch. Just quit watching that show. Watch Legion. You'll notice the esoteric stuff really fast, and it's good. Like
Okay.
it makes sense. You'll like that a lot.
All right, we'll have to take you up on it, Todd. We'll probably do that. That
I've
sounds
actually
cool.
never been so excited to see a show in quite a while. Like it's really good. It's fun. It's like a little. It's got Breaking Bad vibes, but it's not as. But it's got so much good esoteric and high quality production that you don't have to like hate the character for being like
Right,
when he does bad
right.
things because they're not like as bad necessarily speaking. But
Let's touch base on these pictures you posted real
oh
quick. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
these tied into last week, right? Tell us a little bit how what you saw in these pictures this week and kind of what was going through your head when you were looking at these real quick.
The crystal ones.
Yeah, and then it looks like you've got like a toral band or a Mobius loop, I think,
Yeah, so I
and then
found
you've got
that.
some solids.
Okay, yeah, hold on. Let me make sure we're looking at the right stuff. So, yeah, well, you talked about some crystal stuff, and I was on Google search and I found some cool
That's a
images.
I like
Um,
the one with all the facets. Now,
I'm looking at the
this might
top
be all.
one, crystal systems and examples.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what would if you look at all these different shapes, now what would these differences how would we be able to tell from where we're at? I mean, could this be star shapes and would they reflect either a certain magnitude of light? I mean, obviously each one of these shapes are going to have different magnitudes of light. So there's one shape in here that would emit the most light, which Yeah, I'm trying to
Hmm.
figure out which. And then there's one that you would just see a real sharp edge of it, like a girdle, and it would be a super intense edge of it. So it would almost generate like a field, like a wave field, like a plane almost. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Where the
yeah. I don't know which one that
where
would
the
be though.
I know it, I know it.
I mean, obviously at the level we're at, I mean, these are all just tiny ideas. You know what I mean? Like we
Yeah,
already
for
are so
sure.
big that I mean, I think this is useful in the aspect of like if we go down to like the basic structural unit, and I think I put the other
Uh-huh.
one that says, yeah, here we go. So I put the other one, which I think is really interesting, is you have crystalline quartz, and then you have
Oh yeah.
amorphous glass, and you can see that one of them, and this, if you use glasses to drink out of
Has
or
the Star of
whatnot.
David. It has the Merkaba and the crystallion, huh? And the quartz.
Right, right.
And then glass is just like a melted conglomeration of the whole thing, kind of
Mm-hmm.
just holding together. But the crystallian, maybe that's what gives. Well, I mean, you've got transparent glass, but crystallian or quartz is different. It has that property of light, right? You can't do things with glass that you can do with quartz, which would be to if you put it under pressure in a drill and drilled it, it would release light. Um,
Mm, wow. Okay. Yeah.
so, and I guess the story goes, what's making the light release in the piezoelectric model is the breaking of the crystal lattices, is what is
Oh,
is what causes the light.
interesting.
So, and that's a star. You're looking at a star. So that is a really good find, Todd.
Let me ask
And
you
if you
this.
look, go ahead.
Oh, well, you can go ahead and finish that if you like. I have a little
I was
diversion.
no, we'll stay on that because I was just gonna say, and then show the like it's almost like that structure I found at the gorge right there
Yeah.
yesterday. That big chunk. I mean, that's a big giant crystal piece. I have a better picture. I'll see if I can get it on here where it shows the hexagonal structure of it.
Yeah.
But what were you gonna say, Todd?
So check this out. Now I'm gonna put up the amorphous glass one again just to talk about this. But so one of my trips before I did a bunch of mushrooms. I don't know how many, a lot. And so usually in the come up phase, you're gonna a lot of people tend to have like melty effects, which I do get. But for this one trip, it was very interesting. I
Uh,
had a bit of the melted effects. However, I had this immense resonance with like being glass and partly glass and almost like glass bubbles were making me up and my entire field. So like if I moved
ooh,
around, I could see like sheens, but they were like bubbles almost. And what I interesting lately, I've been thinking about lightning and how it looks like it's
uh-huh.
coming down, but I think and I'm pretty sure this is actually how lightning works, but I think lightning is actually like a crack and the light is filling it. That's why it looks like it's going down. Um,
Oh, that's
or it
neat.
looks like it's filling whichever way it needs to fill. But I really, and I just wonder, like, how and or why is the mushroom making somebody feel like glass bubbles, and like, it's a very interesting feeling. I've never met anybody that's
It
shared
is,
that
and that's a
experience.
special word. The word glass. I mean, we've got G for inside and then last. So the inside, that's what it is supposed to do. It's supposed to last. You're supposed to have a permanent inside. This is supposed to be what is permanent. The thing that happens on the outside in the realms of movement is in the realm of change. So things
Mm,
out there, are part of their nature to become different things. So um, glass is special, and I think the king of glass would be the one with the geometric tetrahedron Merkaba arrangement built into the structure of it. I mean, that's the probably if we are inside light, if we are light inside of something, then the piezoelectric model is the perfect model for this system. And the whole tilt on our pole at the 23.4 degree angle or whatever the heck, it's 23.5. Um, that right there is probably the angle that you need to discharge light with a certain amount of pressure. And
hmm.
it's I don't know, they're special, man. I mean, I think someday crystals are going to be the most valuable part of our society. I mean, they already are in a way, the way that we're letting electronics kind of just overtake everything, and electronics is really based quite a bit on quartz silica.
Yep.
Um, but I mean, like salts, like you were the salt of the earth. I mean, if you think of how important, the salts are too. I mean, the ocean, I've said
Yeah.
that the ocean would evaporate if you didn't have the salt in there to hold the charge of it.
Oh,
Um,
wow. That reminds me of a video I watched recently where they talk about Indiana Jones being the reference for the firmament breaking, and
uh-huh.
how he says, like, if the firmament, I don't understand exactly how his idea works, but he said, like, if the firmament, i.e., the arc is opened, uh, basically all the water would instantly evaporate into, like, fiery mist or something. And I'm like, well, that sounds pretty terrible.
Kind of makes sense because you'd have a super dense, because water is very heavy,
Yeah.
and you'd have a big mass of it falling as a big heavy object. So that's exactly how water would probably, it'd have fire in front of it coming down for sure.
Hmm.
And it very well could evaporate. I mean, but it just, I guess it depends how much. And then
Hmm.
I thought
Yeah.
of this week at the gorge. I was talking about those other guys with it when we were talking about Ohio. You know how as you go, if you're in Ohio, you've kind of got wavy flat land, like just a gentle
Yeah.
spaced out little hills, not even hills, but it's like a big rolling little hills. Like, I don't know. Anyways, and then if you go to like Indiana or Illinois, the more you go west right there, you can get into some really chopped up hills and then some deeper burrows. So it goes down to 400 and up to 1,000. And what I figured out was this is from water going down. And where water was its fastest is where you see like Illinois, Indiana, um, you
Hmm.
know, those area. And then if the areas up on the bank where it wasn't too bad is Ohio. It was high up. So it was up on the edge and it only had bank waters, but they were sweeping away waters. They
Hmm.
weren't the fast ripples. So if you look at the bottom of a riverbed and then you look at the whole Mississippi Valley and Ohio Valley, you can see where the low areas are and where if we ever do have when we have in the past had big water surges, like if the Great Lakes drained or whatever the heck, I think something big drained and the Great Lakes were pretty much caught the chunks in these lower pockets pretty much.
Hmm.
And I also think it could be a caldera, one giant caldera, all the whole Great Lakes system.
Hmm.
Which is, back to all the mining and copper that's come out of there. I mean, it's copper and sulfur. That shit's real bubbly, man. There's a lot of energy packed in there. So, um, I don't
We're
know, but
looking at
the lay of the
calderas right
land,
now.
the way that the hills are and the lands, whether you can just tell how fast or what part of what the current looked like, because the current in the water will mirror it on the bottom. It will show you on the bottom. So those gentle waves that Ohio has, like that flat kind of, that shows you that there was like just that was like the high bank of the water pretty much right there, the eastern edge of a giant river.
Hmm.
At some point in time, I don't know. So that's all I had there on that. But yeah,
Dude, they're crazy looking. I put some calderas on the Google Images here. Nuts. Just look like
yeah,
craters.
man. And if you look at if you take a bird's eye view of the Great Lakes system, it looks like a caldera. And if you go right above that, the Hudson Bay is probably the even bigger caldera. And it looks like if you went over to Yellowstone, you've got a Fibonacci spiral forming too. So like a giant one, another giant one, and then like a smaller one. And it's kind of like spiraling out. But the Hudson Bay could easily be a giant caldera, and then I like something over there as the ash tree, as the first tree of the world that spewed out all the ash. I mean, we've gone over that, and that's why everything grows so great. And I think that, according to that moon map with all the signs on it, the one that looks like the marijuana leaf,
Yep.
that shows us that America is Pisces. And I was just talking about this. If you think about what Pisces is as mutable water, first of all, that's the oil. So that's water turning into oil. And then you've also got a change, and the oil gets created by the change that happens between earth and sea. So that switches back and forth, and they're always taking over one another, causing the oil buildup, which would have in Texas, where everything flows down to right there. So you've got an area that changes. We live in a mutable water area. This is why some of the old maps, like in the medieval time or the 1500s of America, or even a little bit before, some of the first ones we can see, they're like little dotted islands where you would see Kentucky nowadays, and that it looked like the Hawaiian Islands right there where Kentucky is. Like there's not much land going on, and then you fast forward a little bit later, and you've got, oh look, a whole continent and rivers flowing from Chicago to San Francisco. So like you've got a raised lithoplate ready for imprinting, and then boom, you get the
Wow.
Rockies are popping up. I mean, because now a river doesn't flow from Chicago to San Francisco. So clearly something huge happened recently. They
Mhm.
knew somebody knew it was going to happen. They probably didn't warn the ones who were here or something. They let it happen, then they came over and they knew there was new land. I mean, that's what this
Yep.
is. It's like, well, land is up for grabs. This is a place where you can plant. How else would this system get new soil? It's either going to be through a mud flood, mud volcano up the top, spreading over the top of everything,
Hmm.
which, if you look at our spine columns and then you look at the layers of the earth, it's pretty much like building giant spinal columns. It's filling it up and adding a layer of limestone or some kind of stone, and then filling it up and adding another sharp layer of stone with a petrification event.
Interesting.
It's
Yeah.
like, because if you ever go to see a highway cut when they're doing construction, you can see the different levels where, okay, this is clearly a line right here of some kind of stone, and then dirt, or different colored dirts down to, oh, another color, a layer of stone. And it's it feels like a spinal column building system. I mean, it's like it's trapping chunks of energy internally
Interesting.
as black space with light inside, and who knows,
You know
man.
what's cool with that is so today I was well this last few days I was at a festival, and then today I was also sitting down for a while. But excuse me. I know last week
You're
we
good.
talked about the Tibetan five rites, and I still do that regularly. And I noticed something recently where when I sit, excuse me, I notice between sitting myself, I have like I'm what like very getting like super aware of my spine, and I'm getting super aware of my
uh,
posture, and I'm getting super
yeah,
noticeable about a lot of people's posture and the way they sit. And I find it very
yeah,
intriguing because when we start talking about our bodies and the astrological, like the astrobiology or whatever it's called, like that type of thinking where like we are this
right.
body or we have
And we're gonna
fractal
get into that,
aspects. Yeah, for sure we
right?
should. Yeah, but like I'm
We
noticing
will.
doing that exercise and making my back stronger because I've been doing it for years now. Like I think you're supposed to have a really strong spine. I think you're supposed to do that stuff probably every
I think
day.
that's your real heart. I think it's your real heart, Todd.
The spine,
It's
the strength of the
Yeah, yeah.
spine.
Everything, all your organ system stems out off that. That's like your bar note, and then the organs are like the musical nodes that the harmony creates the song with.
Mm,
So the bar, that spine is very much Leo, and that's why Leo rules the heart and Cancer rules the chest, the pump, the water pump. And it's that spine right there. Think about just the simple concept of black and white, front and back. If you stand up or sit down, doesn't matter. You can't see anything behind you. That whole entire realm is black for you,
yep.
and it and everything in front of you is white. So it's a very monadic, every front and a back is what that is, and white is all of color, and white is reflection and image, and that's her. She's visible. That's the woman out in front. She's the future. It's the pre-sent. So before you send something, you send a scout out front to see what's going on, to report back.
Yeah.
That's I feel like that's what we are. If you took something, you know, let's say space is real, it's traveling, something's traveling real fast, and you've got this orb off the front, like where it's burning the fire. You know what I mean? Like where imagine a huge something,
Hmm.
and as it's traveling so fast, it creates a bubble, right? That's probably how our entire system is right now. The thing we call the sun, I mean, that entire system is we're probably riding some bubble being pushed. You
Hmm.
know, the moon is probably the sheen on front of the bubble, like where it's either going through ether
Hmm.
or or something to that nature. And then the sun is pushing from behind us. It seems like, and
Interesting.
we're in that convex lens almost, and that could be a fucking eyeball. Like who the hell knows, man?
I see it as a Gario, where it's just like a big orb of potential, and then we're just just like that game, man. Other orbs maybe interact with us. I would bet if you
Oh
have
yeah,
the not the firmament so much, but the crater wall makes a lot more sense, I think. But when I look at the moon and that moon
yeah,
map specifically, it looks like there's edges that are. It looks like that moon map is warped so that the edges are look like there's more land, but it's obviously just the potential we can see. But there's obviously infinite amount of
right.
land. Like that's very obvious to me.
All right, Todd, I'm gonna get on. Let's get into some. Do you know your birth time?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Do you want me to give it
Okay,
to you, or do you want me to
I'm
send you
gonna
a
yeah.
chart?
Give me one sec.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna pull it up in my spot right here. I'm just gonna ask for. Okay, we got Todd. Todd, where were you born? What city?
York, Pennsylvania.
York, Pennsylvania. Let's see. There it is. And okay, your date of birth, Todd.
October 4th, 1985. It's about to get real,
Okay.
everybody.
October
I have a chart somewhere. Well,
4th,
it's a tropical chart.
1985. Okay, yeah, let me just pull this up. And then the hour and minute.
10:11 a.m.
Nice time, dude.
My
Okay,
mom just texted.
October 4th, 85, 10:11 a.m., right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Bubba. I'm gonna pull this up. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go into the settings, hit sidereal, based on the fixed stars instead of on the equinox for the tropical. We're not living on the sun. I don't want to know what you are. I want to know what it's doing.
That sounds good.
So then we've got also declinations. They don't always include them. I love looking at the declinations because we're astrology is not a 2D situation. You've got up and down too, and you can have conjunctions. They call them parallels and contraparallels, and it's
Oh.
where it's that a parallel is the second strongest aspect in all out of all the aspects. So, and most people don't even know about them because they're not included typically on a chart.
I've heard
Um,
of them and I didn't know what they were. I didn't look them up either.
yeah. So north and south, pretty much.
Hmm.
Um, north and south, up and down. Oh, come on. I keep getting the damn phone symbol in there. I'm going to snap a picture. Okay, there we go. Now I haven't even looked at it yet. I'm just getting it ready. I'm going to pop it in. So this is a big part of astrology too, is um, how do you approach giving somebody a reading? And um, everybody has kind of their different styles, which is great. And that's what astrology really should be about. It should be about being able to provide beautiful meaning and just different types of beautiful interpretation. And you don't want to have a cookie cutter approach. I mean, this isn't the place to blend in. You need some shock and awe content. You need to be able to get this to stick to the person. I mean, it's you want to take it a little bit beyond if you can. Just the generalized things that they give us astrology for, like relationships and money. You want to get past the human level surface stuff. You want to get right into the spirit and the soul. You want to give them some good meaning, and just so that they know that it's real. I mean, and that's how you don't have to ask them if that. if that, like, you can usually just tell by their reaction. I mean, everybody's different. I'm a very intuitive base. Like, I don't want to prepare. I don't want to ask you what you need to know beforehand so I can kind of study things and look at it. I just want to pull this thing up in front of you. We'll give you a quick breakdown, just kind of gaze at it and just make some notes and just, some generalizations real quick, and then also go into, well, what do you got going on? What do you want to know from there?
Mm,
And because it's kind of, I feel like all that prep work, it's not, if you're going to prep work, you're outside of the time allowance. Astrology, the time you pull the chart, it matters. So us pulling this chart right now, me doing this reading at this specific hour, there's a certain energy in the air. So if I cheat that and prepare yesterday, I'm preparing in something completely different than actually is going to be there. So it's just not true to the art, in my opinion. This
yeah,
is an intuitive art. Astrology, astrology, logic of the stars is, it's not something, first of all, you can ever contain all of,
yeah,
and it's the reason I say intuitive base is because the human, you're trying to remove the human to get the human filters out of the way so you can bring something different through to talk to the human. And that's really the what I try to make as the goal. All
yeah.
right, let me see here.
Nice, nice.
But a lot of people would disagree with me on that. I don't know, just, big into prep, and, and return customers are good. And to me, a return customer is bad. That's,
Yeah,
you
yep.
want to get somebody to carry your own cross.
Yeah,
You want to get
exactly.
them, you got one shot at getting them interested in astrology, enough to get them to have their own curiosity on their own time to pull that up and be like, what does a Venus eighth house mean? Oh, and it's
Right.
in Scorpio. What does all that mean?
Yeah,
Oh, and it has these different angles from this body and this body. Everything has meaning. There
yeah,
is a huge infinite analysis in each little symbol. I mean, it's incredible. All
yeah.
right,
And it's
Todd, let's pull yours
super.
up.
I just want to say too, it's super valuable to start learning some of this stuff because when I started learning this stuff, it like started answering questions like, why do I keep doing things? Why am I indecisive? Why, you know what I mean? Like a lot of things. So it
Right.
actually gave me the ability to start modifying my own patterns, being aware of the things I'm doing, and like, oh, recognizing, oh, okay, here is, some energies and some symbols that will help you correct things that you may need corrected on. Otherwise, you could just keep doing the same thing forever. And, you know,
Right. Wow, Todd. I just had to go look at something because here, I'll take a shot of this too. So if you want, you can throw your chart up. I kept your birth info out of it just for the
thanks.
internet purposes. Um, I'm gonna put this one on here too, but right away I noticed your Saturn was right near the ascendant and on the cusp of Libra Scorpio. So I wanted to see if it was 0 degrees, and it's fucking 0 degrees Scorpio, and
Ooh.
that's pretty incredible because my Saturn in tropical astrology, which is typically what the world uses, is also 0 degree Scorpio, and I'm dead on the ascendant. So we have
Wow.
a,
No wonder we're together.
yeah, and that, I know it, and that exact star is the fixed star Al-Ghul, which is
Ooh.
considered the most demonic and evil star in the whole entire sky. And here's my take on this.
All right, let's
I
do it.
think it could be the most divine and absolute compassionate star, all gold, all ghoul,
Mm.
alcohol. There's a lot of different things like think of alcohol as spirits, all ALGOL. That's all gold. So you have that inner gold. It's forever. And where is this star? It's in the head of Medusa that Perseus is holding up in the air. That Perseus, the human, can now use to turn people to stone, or its enemies to stone. And it uses that skill to save the princess or Andromeda, and all these other things. So it's showing you that um That's crazy that we're both on that fixed. I mean, this is your sidereal position, so your tropical position, it's got to shift and it's going to be in a different spot. But
Yep.
that's so cool that that lines up, man.
Yeah, that's
So it's the
amazing.
conquered, it's the conquered Medusa. So you've learned how to use your words not to petrify somebody, not to get them, because
Yep.
I'm still learning it for sure. But I mean, here's the thing, you don't want the scared deer that's already timid and scared to run further into the forest. I mean, you've been chasing that deer forever just to give it a hug and to show it real love that, hey, I'm not scary. Like, oh, I get it, my image might look scary, but my inside is not scary. It's full of love and compassion, and it just wants to embrace you and help you and just be your friend and be your steward and your guide, whatever. That was what we were sent here for. So, and Saturn beings can have that where the world sees them in a certain light, and they kind of like to keep their distance, and it can be hard on the Saturn ascendant individuals who they might not understand why they push people away a little bit, or um because we're very, especially Libra, it's a very sharp judgmental position of critical analysis. I
Yeah.
mean, Saturn is judgment and duty. And it exalts in Libra. So that's its most elevated position, where it's supported by all the other wandering stars. The word planet is so tough for me to say, so I'm just going to say wandering stars. That's what they were called.
Dude,
And I mean,
I
why
100% agree. I hate saying that
and
word.
like Venus says the evening star and the morning star. I mean, if you go back, that it wasn't Venus the planet. I mean,
Yep.
these are all stars. And this is how I know that these are stars, because there is a central light from the black sun, the one sun going out, and it goes out forever, for infinity. It just keeps going and going and going, and it never ends. And when it comes to something that it can't go through, which is itself, a portion of itself, either ice, gas, or metal, it reflects back. So the stars, the Bach Saga says they wouldn't reflect if there was no sun.
Mm,
So it's showing you
right.
that those aren't stars out there. And there's no other picture of a star. There's one sun, one moon, and one planet, is what the saga holds.
Interesting.
And I'm dead on that. I mean, I'm one infinite physical dimension, one infinite sun dimension, and one infinite monad moon dimension. And like sun's solo, and the sun is the soul. The
Right.
sun is the soul arc. And that moon is the spirit. It's the straight line. It spears it. It's the crystalline line. And they mask it. They switch it all up. They mask it as the woman. And it's just, and then I mean, we really have the unseen sun is the black sun. That's your back. That's your spine right there.
Mm,
That's the black sun. And the luminescent sun with all the color, that's Aquarius, really. I mean, look at that. I put that color wheel up in that chart, the universal metaphysics mechanics. Look at in the 11th house where Aquarius is, you see all the luminescent color. Those are the thing we call the sun right now currently is Aquarius. It's the water bearer. And you can tell that that kind of energetic toral pattern energy, that's where it separates to. When you spin different things in different densities
yep.
in a fluid, they all go to certain concentric circle areas depending upon their nature.
Right.
And that's what we have going on. See the black sun, see the dark shadow lines going straight up and down, and then with a black sun solar arc off to the left and the right near the ascendant and descendant, and then the deep infrared line on the bottom, which is your Martian, your Mars infrared, your blood.
Hmm. You
That's
know what's
it's all
funny?
there.
Someone
What
today
do you
was
got?
telling me they watched a video about how many holes in the body the human has, and apparently we have seven main holes in our body of like in
Wow.
and out. Like I was when I they told me that I was thinking about this, not this specific image, but the toroid itself, where it's like you are just kind of a toroid, pretty much.
Right. All right, Todd, let me get your chart going here. So,
Do it.
um, So the way I like to approach a chart right at the start is kind of you start with the circle, okay? You always start with 360 degrees. The only reason I say you start there is so you need to have some kind of process that you work through
Yeah.
that sticks. That way, if you don't have something that is your own that you work through, you're going to be jumpy and you're not going to be have any kind of harmony in your readings ever. So it just helps you learn. It helps you as an astrologer come up with a routine. So the way I like to approach it, I like to start with the circles. 360 degrees is considered perfect.
Yeah.
It's got an equal distant, spot to the circumference from the center at every point. So we've got right away, I see a very heavy left side of the chart. So this is the ascending portion of the energy. So starting down, and you know what? You have this lined up on the exact true, you just like, you have the opposite of the true house system. So typically,
Whoa.
if you don't take any movement involved, and Capricorn and Sagittarius would be dead on the top, up on the MC. That's the galactic center, and then you'd have Gemini, Cancer on the IC on the bottom. That's the fourth house, the moon, and 10th is career up there and all. I mean, this is what traditional, mundane, cookie cutter astrology tells us,
Mm.
and that's okay. What I was trying to say here, I'm sorry, was the left side. So for you, starting at uh, let's see, looks like the cusp of the fourth house, so Aquarius, your IC right down there. This is where everything starts to ascend in a clockwork pattern. So right away, pushing everything up at the bottom, you've got Jupiter, then followed you have a dead similar first through third house as me, like very close. I have all my, because look at this, and same with Pluto right there. For me it goes Pluto in the 12th, right where you have him in Libra, and then I have Saturn on the ascendant, followed by Jupiter and Uranus and Scorpio in the second house, followed by Neptune in my third house.
Hmm.
And you have all the same. So let me just real quick touch that while we're on that. These
Yeah.
are all the outside generational planets. So these are the slow moving and they give life. These are the givers of form. So Jupiter and Saturn are considered the two top pretty much bosses. They're in control of the electro and the magnetic. So Saturn on the magnetic and Jupiter on the electro. And we've got Uranus and Neptune and Pluto here, all in your pretty much 1 through 3 houses. Pluto's in your 12th, up a little bit, but I mean it's in the ballpark on this quadrant.
Okay.
So this first house is very much speech. In the beginning was word, okay? So, and this is very much action in our world. So sound is physical action and appearance. So that's how things appear. That's why when we study a natal chart, we're studying the nature of somebody's appearance, okay? Like how when the moment they first appeared. So this natal astrology is the science of this system we're in, the system of the woman, the system of the image, the system of polarity, the positive and the negative marrying up to give you an image. And this is exactly why I use sidereal, because it's based upon the actual positions from where we are as a center. The center on this chart right here is York, Pennsylvania. So that's the center where you were born at.
Mm.
Um, Anyways, so the first house, you've got Saturn and Uranus right there. And then Neptune below that, Jupiter below that. So
Oh
everything that
man.
you're rising, your main consciousness, your main personality, your main thought, your main feelings, yeah, your first three movements that make up your core who you are very deep outside generational tendencies, just like me. I have all of
Hmm.
them in retrograde too. So I
Interesting.
bet if I look on yours real quick, I bet some of yours are retro. Let me see. Or are they all direct? It looks like they might all be direct. They're all direct. That's incredible. You don't have a single retrograde planet. Right, actually.
Bueno.
That's pretty cool.
So,
Okay, back to
can you
this. So,
describe retrograde in case someone listening doesn't understand it?
sure, sure. So, a retrograde is an appearance thing. It's when everything typically moves clockwise around this circle right here. So the ascendant, the first house is when as they're rising up. So the first house goes first to rise up, pushing up, and then the second, third, fourth, followed by the 12th. As you see the 12th go all the way across the horizon, then the descendant, then come all the way down into the rising, and then the 12th house finally is the last to go. That's where your moral and your Pluto sits in Libra right there. So you have, and it's in, you have a huge cardinal air feet that you're sitting on in moral tendencies, which is great. But it's squaring your Jupiter. So we'll get to that.
Hmm.
So we've got, let me see, where was I? Oh yeah. So these generational planets right here, you are a very, from the membrane, okay? You came from, to get here, your core makeup, what you brought here as the main tools in your toolbox, your first three houses, your pretty much your physical body, your soul, and your spirit, is what we've got right here. So, so you came in from the outside just as I and manifested here pretty much like a membrane grounding through your feet through the ground situation. So you're connected to the environment. The environment speaks to you just as it does to me. Everything has a story to tell you. The information for us, people like us, tends to be stored in the experience in our surroundings. Once we unlock the experience, we gather the information, and this is how we carry information. We kind of, when we see new things, we run it up against, of course, what we've gotten there and adjust accordingly. If something fits better, we carry it along with us and what have you. Your so your first quadrant right there, is very generational heavy, like a very giving observer, a parent energy, just kind of, there's inner faster things. You're keeping the kids in the pen. Like it's kind of like a herder keeping all the sheep inside the pen, making sure, oh, let me go get this one over here. This one got out. Okay, you need to go back over here. You don't want to go there yet because of X, Y, and Z. So that's what I see right away there. And really, you are very much an ascending person. So having just about everything on that side over there shows you that, and you have oh my God, you got a exact conjunct Mars elevated Venus, like it's the top thing in your chart, and they're conjunct in Leo. That's awesome. There's your art right there. You're blending the positive and the negative in all many forms, because Leo's like the spotlight, wants to jack of all trades. I mean, we'll get to that one too. So you've got everything ascending. So you are furthering things in growth. Okay, you don't have, like, a descending attitude would be to strip things away, to get them down to their bare bones, what they are, just getting rid of all the unnecessary baggage. You are bringing things to the table, possibilities to the table, keeping growth alive at all opportunities, all costs. You identify with that ascending, lifting up, going beyond the human. So not grounding into the earth and getting stuck in your earthly human habits, but aspiring to something greater. Things that are beyond you, which, your psychedelic use, your,
Right.
art. I mean, art is considered the actual highest, some of the highest experiences, because you don't get to have art until you get comfort and you're out
Yep.
of your survival fear state.
Yep.
I mean, you can't have art yet, and art is very much inspiration and imagination, which are Pegasus's playground. I mean, that's where you want to be, is long-term memory. I mean, you don't want to be in that short-term Gemini, flashy, mutable air memory. You want that fixed air, long term memory, just that feeling. Fixed is feeling. So you want that kind of memory that has feeling with it. When you think of something, you don't just get the thought, you get the smells, you get the sounds, you get the whole shebang. Like, and sometimes your elbow will hurt. Like if you had banged your elbow, like, I mean, that's how this shit works with Pegasus. It's the hippocampus. It's getting fed off. I mean, it's getting fed from the intuition. The everything's speaking to us. I mean,
Yep.
and most of the time we don't listen at all. Like
Right.
we just fight it. Happy 7-Eleven. So that's the first thing. So, and then you've got, to balance it out nicely, which you can see, you've got a fucking exalted moon in Taurus in the seventh. Wow. So very powerful moon position. You've got an exalted Saturn and an exalted moon, and you've got a rare 150-degree angle to the ascendant right there from Chiron, the wounded healer. So you can see some very healing things in relationships, things that would very much, where things constantly butt heads. You would be right there to provide the perfect key to provide harmony. And it would be in the realm of cardinal air. So it would be very high thought. You would have people take the high road versus the low moral character roads. Um, you would inspire that in others too, which is
Oh,
neat. And
I
if
think I do
it's
that. Hmm.
it's it's a nice, so you have a deep ascending nature right now, but you've also got a powerful descending nature too. So, which is great, because if you think about getting rid of impurities, I mean, there's times in life when we need restriction, boundary, freeing of space, because space is the first thing, and then next is the earth. So you need space to create in before you can even have a creation. So before there was creation, there was space to create in, and there was a something to create. So creation in itself was not the first, aspect. I mean, there was eternity sits behind that. When time started, that's just where we hit go. I mean, that's, the Big Bang. There wasn't That's all a bunch of bullshit. I mean, we know that.
Yeah.
And because nothing can explode. There's got to be something that explodes. How can nothing explode? It just can't. Just like God can't hate. God hates sinners. God can't hate. So God doesn't hate sinners. God loves sinners. That's how it works.
Right.
It would be a logical fallacy to say God hates anything, because
Right.
it's not in God's nature to hate. It's not in the creator's nature to hate. And that's just the fact of love, because creation is love and all is love. Logos and reason and intellect, that was all birthed from love as a gift. And it's beautiful that way, because it's eternal. Without that, it wouldn't be eternal. It would be a logical necessity that this whole thing crumbles someday, because time would call for it. And it would just, our sun would die down, we'd see our last days, and we'd have our end. But that's the beautiful thing about love, is that doesn't happen. It doesn't have to happen. There can be a gift of love and intervention. There can be something that steps in and defies logic. And that's what we really sit in. I'm pretty sure. One second, I'm just gonna get some water here, Tyler.
Yeah, man. That's uh a lot of the stuff you're saying. It makes me think of some of the art I've made. Like I think of specific pieces. Or yeah,
That's cool.
interesting.
That's cool. So the second thing I like to look at is the 180. So once you do the 360, kind of get a general idea of the circle. You're looking at, and on the circle, I like to do the ascending versus descending. Or if someone's got a stellium, like, hey, you've got just a big node in this area of the circle. So study these three or four constellations. It's pretty hard, because a lot of your aspects and wandering stars are lying in this area. So it would do you well to just take those two or three and be very good with those, and then take the other ones later, but because they would resonate hard with you if you studied those ones, because that's where everything is. Like, so for you, Todd, I mean, you're pretty much from really all the, and you know what is also neat is your ascending node starts in Capricorn, which is where light starts ascending and after Christmas time right there where the days start to get longer,
Hmm.
and it goes all the way up and it ascends all the way up to Leo, uh, and which is pretty much the let me think about this here. Hold on. Up to Cancer would be obviously the summer solstice right there. We would be at the brightest day, the most luminescence. So you're
Wow.
on like you're matched to the science of light, of luminescence, your character.
Wow. You know my Mayan thing? White spectral wizard.
That's awesome. That fits you very well.
Hmm.
You bring the color, and look at all this different color we got. Those are all different angles, so you've got a little bit of everything, just as I. It's very nice to have all these angles in your natal chart. So it provides you with much vision, many skills, many challenges, much harmony, a little bit of everything. So, and
Yeah.
you have a super sharp square to that Mars, Venus, and Leo in the 10th, with over to your moon and to Uranus. I mean, that is nuts. Like that is a dead equilateral triangle, and that is Uranus we're talking about. And it's not just hitting one wandering star; it's hitting both Venus and Mars right there. I mean, this is nuts, Todd. I don't know if I've come across such a thing here, but we're gonna get to the bottom of that.
That's what the
So
other astrologer said.
that is
She
nuts.
said, "You're not from around here, are you?"
No, you can see the left and the right amazingly, and it butts heads on you so hard. Like it forces you to probably be super compassionate, just because you destroy yourself if you use the other energy in there. With Uranus coming in, I mean, it would kill your personality. It's squaring your moon. It's in your 10th, very visible. It's in your career spot. So, it shows you that you're going to have opportunities to make money, but you're going to have to overcome the challenges every single time. Like it's hard
Yeah.
work,
Yep.
but it's in the 10th. You have this world's left and right, the seen and the unseen, because Mars is the infrared unseen and Venus is pretty much everything visible, in a way. So you've pretty much got both of those two realms in Leo, which is pretty much sound, like visible sound, pretty much, and it's just super visible. Like you as an artist is a great, awesome spot for you because people will see your art. Like it will also square them, so that was like a double C. So it's something different. You know what I
Interesting.
mean? Like
Yeah.
art can blend in, and you'd be like somebody that during the whatever period would put out a different style of art than the period's putting out almost.
Mm.
Not necessarily, but you could have that potential. You could square it. You could square pretty much, yeah, and also potentially not, because Uranus is change and you're not in harmony with change. You're at a square with it. So change could be something you actually resist, is how you could envision a Uranus square to anything. Is that if you have a poor angle, or really poor is a horrible word. I mean, and there's only one 90-degree angle. I mean, we're talking about the straight realm, the realm of the father, no arc. So it's a very masculine. You have a very masculine art energy too, in a way. You have no arc, straight lines. I mean, in that way, digital art might, like geometry and things like that. You can see how those straight lines are feeding you pretty much.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. It's interesting. So
That's cool.
on quadrants, once again, we've got, um, or sorry, no, on the 180, you can see above the horizon versus below. And things typically aren't actually visible until they're like 17 degrees above the horizon. So, like if you see your Mercury right there, your Mercury and your sun, you would have seen it in the sky if you had looked over in the east right there. They would have been, so yeah, 10 in the morning. So they would have been about, if you take the ascendant as you're standing on the ground right there, that's about how high the sun would have been in the sky at about 10 o'clock or so. It would have been raised up that much, on
Hmm.
its way. So
Okay.
that much visible, I guess you could say. In a couple hours, it would be about noon, so it would be right at its peak, noon one or so. And then let me see what time of the year, October. So yeah, probably like one or something like that. And yep, then on its way back down. So you've got things above the ascendant. These are things that people can see, they can see in you. You don't have to tell them. Like, either like things like humor or things, if you were to see if somebody was good looking, had like some kind of image or appearance, you would look above the horizon and see what's visible. If you wanted to look at someone's, what makes them up from the inside, their underworld, which is inside of them, you would look below the horizon.
Mm,
So you can see that you have some deep forces in you. You've got all those deep generational forces that make you up. A deep sea for Neptune, so some deep intuition, deep duty for Saturn in there. You've got a strong sense of what's proper fighting time, duty, things I need to do. General health, things to take care of yourself, things to put food on the table or help with bills. I mean, it's just a general sense of, and it's in Libra, so it's exalted duty. You would hold your duty as, and you expect duty from others too. Like, it would
mm,
make a sense of, like, hey, why aren't you being responsible for yourself? Like, I mean, it could cause frustration for, a little bit for you to see other people, like, to not see the obvious things out there all the time. Um, and then
yeah.
I think we've talked about that before.
Hmm.
But and then let's see here. So above the ascendant, we've got Pluto, Mercury, Sun. We're going from Libra almost to Aries. So we're going to be going. Let me see here. And you got to think it's really rising up from Libra right there. So it's going to put down Libra through Aries the other way over that winter side. So really, if you think about it, your first things to become visible are those outer generational, more lofty, more deep things with depth. Those are the things that are popping up right there from the ascendant becoming visible. The things that are already visible, they're pretty much hitting their height and then they're going to start descending again. However, these are all the things, like, people see your art, people see your vitality, your life force, your communication, your service for others, all that Virgo energy with the sun and Mercury. You have an exalted Mercury in Virgo. I mean,
Mm.
Jesus, Todd. You got exalted moon, exalted Mercury, exalted Saturn, and then we've got a Neptune Sagittarius, which I like a lot. You have a debilitated, I'm sorry, yeah, debilitated Jupiter. Your Jupiter's taking a strong hit in Capricorn because that's Saturn's house, and it's in the third, which isn't too rough. Not a bad spot. You got a grand trine though, an Earth
Hmm.
trine with the moon, with the sun, and with Jupiter right there. So you can kind of see that naturey connections definitely in there for you. I mean, you've got that's where your life force and your vitality would come through. Your personality would shine a little bit, which is, right back to art, nature, just, and it's got, you're sitting on Jupiter down there in the third, right at the bottom in Capricorn. So it's almost like you're standing on the top of a mountain with a lot of vision. So your low spot is on the top of a mountain on Capricorn. So pretty interesting. I mean, we've got a nice set of under versus over, things inside you versus things in front of you, outside you, visible. So people can see, if there was ever like a being able to see, both sexes in one. So you could see the feminine qualities of a man or the masculine qualities of a female, or that vision for you in Leo is, I mean, they're dead on each other. Like, you don't have a lot of separation in your how you judge the sexes of this realm. You're like constantly marrying them together into this central concept, it would seem.
Mm.
And it's in fire, so it would very much be in your work, like things you actually do, which of course art for work, like art for money, like that's not something out of the question for you. And I mean, and it's fixed too, like it's a fixed nature, so there would be feeling attached to it. I mean, and this is probably where you're going to get a lot of your growth from because of those squares right there. The
Mm.
rest of your chart, you've got trines, beautiful harmonies, rare 150s, and sextiles. So, I mean, a lot of easy harmony everywhere else. I mean, I guess you've got the Pluto, Jupiter, North Node square, but that's causing rare shit to feed to your sun. If you can see that 150 line right there.
Mm.
So if you can get through the Jupiter challenges from Pluto, from the moral body, so if you can, things that you're expanding, like if you're expanding the right areas of your life, maybe your willpower system versus a desire, or just having appropriate desires, then you're
Mm.
going to feed rare insight to what you're growing with your North Node, because and it's not going to take a hit on your Jupiter. Instead, it's going to feed you beautiful information, and you're going to get it pretty much probably through service for others because of that Virgo sun right there. I mean, in the 11th is the house of friends, so you're very much into helping friends. I mean, without helping friends, you wouldn't feel like there'd be much of a purpose for life. That's where your life force is streaming in from. And rare things happen in your friend situations, like you're constantly having things that don't go together always meet up on your path, and you get the wisdom from having to be the middleman pretty much right there. And it's typically would happen through a service scenario, like, oh, I'm going to go help a friend move, and then whoa, all these rare things happen to me that are just 150s coming in, which are these beautiful gems is what they are. 100, if you notice on the 150, those yellow lines, they combine unlike polarities, unlike above below ascendant, unlike left right, unlike you've got earth versus fire, you've got mutable versus cardinal on the modes. I mean, everything's different. So those angles are what make up this entire system of visible nature. See how those yellow lines hit the circle in the middle?
Yeah.
See how they hit that circle is our sun, is what we call our sun.
Mm.
So we are in a constant 150-degree angle of light. So that's where we sit, pretty much, in my opinion. That's how we see visible matter. So the things that don't go together, that don't have a mesh spot, that can't marry up, those are going to be the things that don't blend into the wave, that don't blend into the invisible. They're going to pop out and stand out in a standing wave. So that's why I really love the 150 angles. They're considered a minor angle in astrology, but to me, it's the most rare angle would be one of the precious gems that if you're carrying them, those are, hey, way to earn that, man. Way to, qualify for that spot right there, because that's pretty much what happened. I mean, and it shows that you have the ability to transform, because Pluto is also transform, the expansion of moral character. So from, maybe what this world is expanding, you see it in a grotesque way, and you have the ability to be the square to somebody to affect positive change so they can also see this whole other different rare, beautiful realm of possibilities. And I don't know, man. It's a neat, and you've got a lot of support because it's sitting on that grand trine too. So I mean, and it's all in Earth. It's very Moon, Venusy, Saturn's involved, as this is in Cap'n and Capricorn, and then if you look, you're sitting in Saturn right on your ascendant. So this is all funneling to your direct consciousness. So this energy with Jupiter is feeding your Libra ascendant Saturn energy right there as well. So it's a very good interplay. And if we look to see Saturn's at 0 degrees, I'm kind of getting off track, but I'm just going to just start going into it. Um, Saturn's at 0 degrees Libra, so we'd look to see what's Venus doing right there. How is our duty in the most high thought? Because really, the strongest, I shouldn't say thought, but this is cardinal air is intuition. So you get a feed you get a feed from your intuition to how to do your duty, and this is why Saturn's exalted here, because you've learned to listen to the correct voice inside, the true intuitive ego. That's something you don't get to have a Saturn Libra unless you've honed that in, and you're going to come be a representation of that force coming in.
Mm.
So the cardinal air is, it feels the whole thing. It's the cardinal. Cardinal is the car. The car is the incarnate. So the physical body is the result of all the forces coming together to create this beautiful system. So we've got our light body that we call our physical body is very much the cardinal energy. If you think of how big, and you have a cardinal energy rising, so you will affect change in a lot of situations in the system, just as I was Libra ascendant. Anybody with a cardinal ascendant, it's just like the seasons. When the seasons change, big things happen when we go from spring to summer, or summer to fall, or fall to winter. I mean, we have change. Something happens. We go around a turn. And that's exactly what this is. You can see a circle is really, if you took, I mean, it's, if you wanted to square the circle, you could pretty much cut this thing in four pieces and just spread it out and add a square in the center of it. And I mean, there's of course many ways, but um, those turns are the cardinal points right there. So they're just they're, it's just a lot of power, a lot of ability to affect change. You have a very strong inner voice. So instead of just air in general, like fixed is always there. It's dependent. It's just steady. But you're not going to get the super crazy, off the wall, inventive ideas that you'd need with like cardinal air. Cardinal air is that biggest expression, like that, taking it past the realm of knowing and feeling into the realm of doing. So, which is a big deal here. I mean, really, the real magic trick is something out of nothing, and that's what we're doing. I mean, we're taking things. We are the real Big Bang. We are the real taking something from nothing. I mean, that's pretty much what we are. And I think where you do it via the black hole. That's what these charts are. They're black holes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it is. They're all in a circle moving around. I mean, flush a toilet, you can throw some Cheerios in there. You'll see the same thing. Um, excuse me. So let's see here. So typically, what I like to do, I haven't done very well sticking to my routine at all, but that's okay. So I like to work from the first to the 12th, just kind of work my way around, see what's happening.
Okay.
We've hit the ascendant here pretty good. But let's get into that late first house Uranus there. You can see it's opposing the moon. And look at something beautiful here. The 180-degree angle is first of all an angle of Saturn. So, and this is why when you hear them talk about ancient Saturn, this is where it comes from. Look at the center of the circle. There's only one thing that goes through the center of the circle, and that's the 180-degree angle. So that's the only thing that is the true center of the all, is the 180-degree opposition. So in the word opposition, you've got sit ion in there pretty much. So it just shows you the true importance of an opposition. I mean, in astrology, on your cookie cutter astrology, oppositions are considered very malefic, challenge, which obviously things opposing each other are oppositions, but the higher esoteric, intuitive approach would be that they're lining up and they're supporting. So they're only opposing each other if your mind is small enough to have them stuck on one circle. But if your mind is infinite and it stretches out, it can also be something that connects to other nodes out there, like a bar,
Hmm.
or like this is pretty much metal. So 180-degree angle is the quickest movement of sound. It's a straight line. It's fire. The letter D is the sun rising on its side. Fire goes straight through. Um, Uranus is electric fire, very much too. Uranus is the only wandering star that spins on its side instead of up on its axis or whatever. So that's why it affects change. So having that really on the cusp of your first and second house right there. We've got this let's see, pretty much on the edge of your body. So we've got the cardinal and then the fixed right there in terms of the first, second house. So this is, almost into the area of what you have. And what you have is change. And it's opposing or it's in line with your personality and your wounded healer, just depending upon really which day it is. Because this energy is something that's natal to you. So you can have good days and bad days. You can have days where your ability to change, which if you think about Scorpio and you think about electricity, you think about deep water. I mean, I think about those little fish that bring their own lights underneath the ocean and can
Yeah.
change the lights on and off. And I mean, this is some serious stuff. Like you can change the deep currents. That's a real big spiritual ability to be able to control the undertows. And that's where the surface and all the ripples and reflections play on up top. And you're the real movement. You're bringing that thing over here, over there. So these 180s right here are very special for you. They're in your first house. They're on the cusp of the first second, so they're very much, your consciousness feed, and your thoughts, your thinking. So your higher and your lower mind are both right here. Um, so we've pretty much, and you're sitting right on the center of that, kind of affecting change. So on your good days, your change is helping relationships with people because this is all opposing the seventh. Your personality is in the seventh. So, I mean, that's going to show you that the way that the world sees you, they see you, pretty much as in through relationships. So, your relationships are what define you, are what define your personality here by having your moon and the seventh in Taurus. So, your ego or the personality that you're building is not for yourself. It's very much as a tool for relationships in this world and and it's in Taurus, which is that very nature artsy, that stubborn, fixed, earthy nature right there. Which is great. It's stubbornness is a great thing if you're being stubborn to the truth. You'd want to stick right there on that center razor edge, knife edge path. That's when you'd want restriction and stubbornness, But if you were fucking up, I mean, stubbornness isn't a good thing to have because it's just going to keep you in the same ruts.
Yep.
You've got the wounded healer over there with that. So, I mean, this is Chiron is the moon of Pluto. So it's the thing in our system that extends out the furthest. I mean, so it's orbiting Pluto. So it is the face of the moral body. So it's the white light from Pluto's black. So it's in itself the monad, and it's the result of all of your color, all of your choices that you've made, because color equals choice. Every time you make a choice, you color something. The form's already there. You're just doing the paint by number, and you're selecting which colors you want to use. So the marbles are already, you put them in your jar. You've got your experiences set up that are going to trigger things that you hope to gain spiritual lessons or let go of soulful things that you don't want to carry anymore. Sometimes we come to let go of things, not necessarily to gain things. Sometimes we come because we were asked to come help. I think
Yeah.
that's why a lot of us are here right now. To tell you the truth, is we all said yes. How would you say no to something that just loves you infinitely? I would never say no. Whatever you need, You
Right.
know, where do you need me over here? I got your back. What are we doing this time? Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that, you know. I mean, we always have an attitude of, sure, you know, I'd love to help you with that. And, you know, that's Saturn and Libra right there. That's duty. That's true duty. That's somebody that isn't your friend on just the good days. You know, they got your back all the time. You know, they might not call you every week and touch in with you, but they'll pick up right where they left off every single time. Like there
Hmm.
was never a question about, you know, a friendship. You know, there was never judgment. You know, having Saturn there, we're supposed to be overcome judgment. We're supposed to be able to understand that people aren't might have a very different probably do have a different path than this person over here, so how can you effectively judge any person? You don't know the path they're on. You don't know what they came to let go of. You don't know what they came to gain. How do you know that they didn't have to come in and absorb a life full of not so pleasant, low density things in order to be able to have a life coming up to overcome all those things? I mean, people the hot ticket to have on the other side is the tamed dark. I mean, that black in your pocket, you want as much as that as you can have because you don't want anything to be able to scare the shit out of you. Because the shit is the stinky stuff that allows stuff to grow, and you don't want to start that stuff over. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a and it's gonna happen. I mean, you're gonna get tested.
Yeah.
The program knows your deepest fears, and you're gonna have to experience it. Like you're gonna have to go through your black wall, your shadow wall, and you're gonna have your hardest test in the form of an image, and that's where we are right now. You're in your shadow wall. You're facing your all of these things are specifically reflections that are there for your inner light growth. It's built on purpose to something because when you overcome it, all roads lead to Rome. When you overcome this thing, there's nothing, there's no form, there's no image that can stir you into, you know, either high emotional reactions pretty much. Like you're just a calm, emotional being on all levels. You're very centered and you have understanding about an image, and then you have understanding about what causes an image, and you don't get the two confused. So, you know, the one doesn't bother you at all when it confronts you all the time. It's the Nar, it's the Joker, it's the Loki, it's the, you know, it's Mercury going back and forth, positive minus each side on the sun, just popping out different images of polarity everywhere. Um, I
Hmm.
don't know. I mean, it's a the images, and it's her. You know, I mean, and it's the woman. We're all the woman here. Like I'm not talking about just the woman. I mean, we're all everything is the woman. Everything visible is a woman. That is visible sound. Everything that you can see is an image, and if sound can echo, images can echo too. So the image, fractal images, I mean, we can pretty much see that in everything in our reality that we look at. It's all one big fractal of sound. And the sound hit a certain point where it got slow enough and it developed a sound body. And that's where we are, playing in the sound body. I think it's inside that crystal too, that Crystal Vulcan matrix situation. All right.
Hey,
Let's get
do you want to take a break? You've been going for a
yeah,
while.
yeah. Yeah. Run
Honestly,
us on something, Todd.
uh, well, I was just say, I am immensely impressed. I'm sure a lot of our viewers are as well. Your knowledge
Well, I
on
mean,
this
and
is
it's
amazing.
we could go for days on, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Hey
just
guys,
Oh, we got a
just
it's
wanted.
guest.
who we got. We got a guest.
Hey, one
Yeah,
second.
man. I hope I'm not interrupting something personal.
No, no, tell us your name.
My name's Ahura.
Hey, Ahura, nice to meet you. Where are you from?
I'm from the Netherlands. And you?
Mm. I'm out of Kentucky, and Todd, or America, and Todd, you're out of Ohio, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
both
that's
American.
So
that's cool.
that's awesome. Are you friends with Mike? I think he's out of the Netherlands too.
Yeah, I know Mike, and I also
Okay.
know LearnShare. He calls himself Dogstar right now, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dogstar. Yep. I know him.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff,
So
man.
I've
How's
been
everything
working.
going?
Yeah, fine with you guys.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually
Good.
met
Good.
you guys on this. I think I chatted with Todd
Probably. Oh yeah,
back
a
back
while
in
back.
the server
Back yeah,
on
old
the
days.
in the Tartary server about
Yeah.
numbers, numerology, and stuff.
Yes.
And I've been doing a lot of research together with LearnShare or Dogstar. I don't know how
Yeah.
you call them. Um,
That's
I
cool.
record.
Tell us some stuff you've discovered. That sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, I can invite you to our server. No problem, man.
Okay.
Well, can you
Okay.
do you want to talk about it now? We're doing a stream right now. We're actually recording this and playing it on YouTube.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no problem.
Give us your elevator pitch.
Yeah. Well, one moment. Let me first invite you to my server, and then uh, probably best to show you, right?
Right. Right.
What we've been
So
on.
did you have to come up with a basis of like just a general? Did you end up like studying the like each number real hard and like the concept of one and two and three and I'm
Mm,
curious, or is it like gematria? Are you looking at the way the words are matching, like the numbers and stuff?
it's basically the numbers itself. Yeah. I don't think there's yeah. Especially the numbers 3, 6, and 9 have
Ooh,
significant. And
yeah.
there's also ways to show you why. It's um, we've been using a couple of methods which we like standardized, and we tried ever since we tried to um, break down this methods, and we haven't found anything yet that broke down our theories yet. So I hope you can.
Does it have to do with have you seen the vortex math? Does it have to do with the Rodin coil and that kind of stuff at all? Like the
Exactly.
369?
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, we went a bit further than Rodin.
Ooh.
Rodin was just the beginning, and
Yeah.
we elaborated on that one.
You
And
know, that vortex math wheel is incredible. The power that that wheel has is insane. It should be the standard for every child to learn math on. Should
yeah,
be it's so easy. It's just so easy
and this
too.
is what I want to show you guys, some of these things we came up with, because it's even more basic than the Rodin, and it's
Wow.
basically like where you the beginning, before Rodin, and
Really?
it
Really?
shows you
That's
all the
cool.
way up to past Rodin.
Can you
So
tell me the importance of the 3, the 6, and the 9 just as like a standalone as each one? Can you do a little bit explaining on
Mhm.
each one of those?
Well, the 9 I think is like a mirror, the mirror number.
Ooh.
Each number can be a mirror, but the nine is where it's the starting point,
All the
and
mirrors. Okay, 9 is the central mirror.
and it's also the ending point.
Hmm.
Uh,
Ooh.
it's the same
It's
as
a
zero.
is it like does it tied to the inverse of 6 like flipped up to
Mm,
the 9? Is that
no, no,
is that
no,
no?
no. No, not really.
Hmm.
It has
Okay.
to do with the six also, but and the three. But you cannot
Okay.
separate the three from the six. So I don't think there's a direct relationship between the 6 and the 9 alone.
Okay. Okay.
With all the theories we came up with and all the testings we've done, on it.
Okay,
So
so you've got the 9 as like the central mirror, and but all the numbers have the ability to be a mirror in some sense, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
basically. And but the 9 is like a starting point. It's like 0.
That
A
all our
0.
angles are 9. All of the angles are 9. 360, 180, 40. I mean, all
Yeah,
the
45.
geometric solids. Yeah, 45. I mean,
180. Yeah, just add up the numbers, like 180. 1 plus 8 plus 0. That equals 9,
yeah,
right? 4,
right,
45 degrees. 4 plus 5. That equals 9 again.
right. And 9 shows movement in the symbol itself. It's a circle with a tail with movement, with a turn.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like I said, it's basically a beginning and an end of a new cycle. So when
Ooh.
you look at it as a wave, it's the beginning or the end, and the
So it's
0.
the center of the wave. So the 8,
Yeah,
so it's the center of the 8 pretty much. And that's probably why an octave is 8, right? And then it goes to 9 is probably that center point. Like you said, that's nuts.
And then 6 would be the coming out the other hole.
Right.
well,
So
I think it's best to show you guys, because otherwise it's kind of hard. We tried to visualizing this stuff because without
can you
any.
click on your camera right there,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
your video?
Oh yeah, that's probably easiest way, right? Then I'll show you
Right.
around in our server, and then
Todd, do you
later
have
I'll
the
invite you
ability to?
back. You
Okay.
can
Yeah, if he's
have a
gonna
look
do it on
yourself.
Discord, that would probably be easier if you can share your screen on Discord.
Yeah, I'm gonna share it now. One moment.
I'm gonna go on mute real quick, Todd, so you can get this.
Sure.
So here I am live, right?
Yep, I got you.
Yeah. So we got the IO server here, and we done lots
Stellium.
of researches on Eric Dollard, Thunderbolts projects, numerology, geometry, astrology. You know, from all different angles.
Right.
You know the work of Stellium.
Yep, we
What
had
is
him on
called?
the show recently.
Well, recently, for instance, I tried to help him with some research on these rocks,
Nice.
and here we use some liquid penetrant method for showing the cracks in the rocks here, formations. So you see these fluorescent
Yeah.
parts that show up then.
I think
And
they're
these
called
are real.
striations.
No, these are to make sure that it's not a scratch, to see the difference between a scratch or something that is into the depth, you know, like a real crack into the depth. This emphasizes this technique. They use it to detect cracks in aircraft parts. This stuff. For instance, here, look at this picture here. You wouldn't see this with the naked eye here, that there's a crack here. And then if you look at this picture here, you can see a clear crack here with the fluorescent penetrant at the same spot. You see?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, we're
what
talking
is this
about the
showing us?
numerology, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go
Let's
back
keep
to
it to one subject.
369.
Yeah.
What's the 6 and the 3?
Well, for me, what I think is the energy is made up of two. Like electricity is made up of two things, like Eric Dollard says. I truly believe that is true. So that's magnetism and the dielectricity, and
That's beautiful.
you can even prove that in formulas. You know, it's not real. Yeah, you can confirm that stuff. You know, so I think the 3 and the 6. So the
Dielectric.
3 is either the magnetism, and the 6 is either the what's it called, the dielectricity, or the other way around. It doesn't matter actually. which way you put it. It's like good or bad. You know what is good, what is bad. It depends on what side you look at it. You know.
Mm.
And then there's the 9 that's in the middle.
Right.
You're probably familiar with the fingerprint of God from Marco Rodin.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there you also see that the 9 is in the middle. And then
So the 3 would be the magnetism, the 6 would be the dielectric portion, and then we'd have the 9 as the constant pulse of it, almost like the reflection and the non-reflection of it on and off.
Exactly, yeah. And then the 3, 6, they switch around. Yeah. Like a switch.
Which is funny because the zodiac, the 12 signs are split up into 3 decans each, which makes 36 houses of visual experience that we sit in, and that's the 3, 6.
And
that's
3
neat.
plus 6 equals 9, right?
Right.
And this is why I call this a mirror number, because you can always add these numbers, both sides of the 9, up to well, let me demonstrate this for you real quick, like in an Excel sheet or something.
Sounds great.
It's probably the easiest way to show you guys.
And that would make, because 3 cubed, if you think about that concept, a cube is a cube, and 3 cubed is 9.
Yeah, exactly.
That's neat.
So let's say I'll zoom in for you guys. It doesn't zoom. There we go. So are you seeing this clearly at your screen here? There's a 9
You got
here.
that?
Yeah. So there's 1, 2, etc. Right? And then you go all the way up to 9. Well, from the other way, it would be 8, 7, etc. All the way going down to 1, and then you could copy paste this part here. Oops. See, so you got 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, etc. You know, it goes like this forever. Well, take the 9 as a center point here. Then you got the 8 and a 1, add them up from the same distance at the 9, like a mirror. They add up to 9, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so take the same distance like a mirror, in perspective. Take the same distance from the 9. 7 plus 2 equals 9, right?
Right.
A 3 plus a 6 equals 9. A 5 plus a 4 equals 9. A 4 plus a 5 equals 9, and so on. It will always work like this, you know? So you could also make a grid out of this, like you can go up here. So you could go like 1, 2, and this is what Excel makes it so easy, you know? And then you can go like 8, 7. This would be like a coordinate system, right? And you would start with 9 again here. You could make squares out of these.
So what do I do with this?
Well, see it as a coordinate system here. So, like I said, 8 plus 1 equals 9, right? Same distance. 1 plus 8 equals 9 here, same distance. 1 plus 8, if you take this here, equals 9, right?
Yeah.
Well, 2 plus 7 equals 9. 9.
Right.
9.
Yeah, we had the Rodin coil metaphysical thing. That's pretty much what that is. Then this pattern's wrapped around in the toroid, right? Isn't that the same concept?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we tried all kinds of different forms with this stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but 1 + 1 = 2, right? So there should be a 2 here. 2 + 2 = 4.
Right.
You can make whole lot of patterns with this. But the basic thing is that when you come to like let's say an 8 plus an 8, that equals 16, right?
Yes.
And this is where you get into trouble because you say, okay, this is a double digit. So what I do with that, you know? And this is what we call the root finding, or going back to the root number. And what I would do with this kind of number, like a double digit number, I would go to the root. So I also add these numbers together. So 1 plus a 6 equals a 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I would put a 7 there. Okay, so now you understand the basic concept of how we do this stuff, and I'm going to show you the patterns we created with this stuff. I think you're going to be. Have you ever heard of Pascal's triangle? And there's actually a YouTube video on this. I heard this for the first time there. You basically have a 1. You start with a 1. You put a 1 and a 1. That 1 plus a 1 equals 2, right?
Right.
So this is why there's a 2 in here. Then a 1 plus a 2 equals a 3. See how this thing works?
Yep.
So 4 plus a 6 equals a 10.
Yeah, it looks like Fibonacci pretty much.
Yeah. So what I did on the other side here is, instead of this 10, I added those numbers together to get to the root number.
Mm.
So instead of a 10, I would put a 1 plus a 0 equals a 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a 1 plus a 5 equals a 6. So you could see that over here on this side.
Hmm.
And then I added colors to these. Every number has its own color. So a 9, I would make like blue. 2, I would make some different color. And I can show you the pattern it shows you here. So look at the beautiful fractal pattern it creates there.
Nice. Yeah, have you heard
That's
of
pretty
the
cool.
Game of Life? Have you heard of that program?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Heard of
this
it.
looks like.
Yep.
That's cool. It reminds me of the like the native, or a lot of our past cultures. You know, they would do their stitchings and their type of weavings and those patterns right there. You see a lot of that in the Native
Exactly.
American.
We
Yeah.
found the same patterns in the cloths of the Scottish, but
Mhm.
not only the Scottish, also the Asian cultures in everywhere.
Yep.
We found these same patterns
The floors have
reappear.
been
So
tiled that way. I've
yeah.
seen floors tiled like that. Yeah.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So if we made an Excel sheet out of this.
Looks like the pyramid power, almost like pyramidal power source.
Yeah. Even both of them look like the different types of pyramids. How one looks like the kind of that Hershey Kiss melted look, and then the other's more straight. You know,
That's a good point too. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
probably
Hey,
what
what
those were. You know.
what are the fields coming off? See those little, see the like the angles coming off the side of the pyramid, those ridges, like those edges. What do we have there? Are those numbers extending beyond the blue?
Yeah, these are all zeros.
Really?
Yeah. So
That's
I would see this
interesting.
as a material here, the material world, and this would be the spiritual world.
Wow. So the
Like the
zeros
zero.
are on the outside. That's the
Yeah,
woman on the
and they're
outside.
the quantity.
Wow.
It's all the same quantity as the material world, right? So they're in balance, and they're in balance by the amount of zeros.
And that's the whole concept of the crystal language book. It says to the word Israel or the word Jerusalem means the struggle to balance the inner light versus the outer light.
Israel, right?
Yeah, Israel,
Cool.
balancing the inner light versus the outer light. Israel light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Crazy.
I made a formula out of this. So basically, the formula goes like this: if this number plus this number, so this number plus this number. Well, let me zoom in. That makes it easier for you to see it here.
There you go.
So if
Look at the black
this number
9
plus this number is more than one digit, add those digits together. That's the basic formula I made. That's the only thing I did. And with this simple formula, I made this pattern here. And now I can even change this number here. Like if I can change it to a 2. I can change it to a 7. And if you'll notice, a 7 plus a 2 equals 9, right? So that's a mirror number of 2. And then you'll see that all these 6s here will become 3s, and this 3 will become 6. The 9 always stays 9 because that's in the middle. That's the 9. Let's try it, you know?
Yeah. I like how the zeros are different too on the outside.
Nice.
So, and a 3. So the 3 is interesting. Look at this.
Ooh.
Huh. Makes some big ones. Makes the Trinity.
Wow.
Yeah, see what happened? There's only the 3 6s and the 9s now.
And no blue mixes with the black.
And no other numbers.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, I think my computer is not liking this.
Yeah. Wow.
So if I would change this to a 6, what do you think would happen?
So a 6 is gonna break. It's gonna start intermingling the black into the blue, and it's gonna make everything fractaled smaller. So you're gonna get a lot.
The blue will, like the 9s, will always stay 9 because it's smack in the middle, right?
Right.
That's the mirror number itself. It mirrors around the 9. Notice you got this pattern here, like half of it's 9 here, right? If you take this square here, then half of it, the lower half of it's 9, right? Well, if you make it a little bit bigger, you see here what happens? Then the half of it, it's 9. If you even go bigger, see what happens?
Yeah. It keeps birthing that monster inside too. It's like a.
Yeah, and it's also a 3 6 9 pattern here because you
it
could
is.
see 1 square, 2 square, 3 square here.
Check out those. See those top 3 triangles right there, those big blue ones? Imagine where they all touch in the center, like a spectrum, on like a box opening, and look at how they come up off the field. Like they're almost like levitating on two of the edges, and they're all pinned down in the center. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like and that's like a windmill, almost like it. I don't know. It's kind of neat. Those are neat. That's a neat angle relationship right there. Like that's. Yeah. Are those equalateral triangles?
Well, you see,
no, it's
those
are right
90 degree angle here, 90 degree.
Yeah.
And if I would change this to a 6, this 3, then it would be all the opposite, right? So all these black ones would become white here, and all the white ones become black, right? So because it's a mirror.
So that 3 6. Yeah, that's neat. So the dielectric versus the magnetic.
Yeah, you see here. Exactly. And if I change this to 9, what do you think will happen?
Oh man.
There's what's the interesting of this. Everything will become 9.
Wow.
With this simple formula. You see?
Ah,
What?
so how happens when you get
So the
everybody on the same
9.
page?
So
Holy shit.
this shows itself, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The same with a 4 and a 5, because a 4 plus a 5 equals 9, right? So a
Mhm.
5.
What about the outside pattern? It's not symmetrical.
No,
I know, that's what
I didn't copy the formula into all the surrounding.
Oh, okay.
This
Oh.
is
Gotcha.
why you see this strange patterns here. You know, I could copy paste this,
Oh.
copy, and then paste it over here, and then you would see the same.
It would start expanding into it, yep.
Yep. It's also funny when you change something over here, for instance, like if I change this 2 to a 4, let's say, then from this part on, see, stuff changes here.
Fractal reality, yeah. Definitely watch Legion,
There's
dude.
only Yeah.
Or a
There's only
3.
9 numbers too. A 0 is not considered a number, right?
Well, the 0 is actually like a multiplication or an expansion or
Oh,
or it's
it adds a column like
a cycle. A cycle. Like
a
Right.
cycle. So
Yeah.
10 is the second instance of 1.
Yeah. And it's actually 1 plus a 0, right?
Mhm.
10.
Mhm.
Yep.
And
So it makes
11
sense.
11
But it
is the second
shifts.
instance of 2, which is 1 plus 1.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's
It shifts. It shifts a little, like it shifts 1.
What about prime numbers? What have you discovered anything about prime numbers?
Well, let me see if I can show you something here.
Prime numbers are something inside me tells me there's a big thing hiding when something can't
Yeah.
be factored.
We've been all to golden ratios and
Also
6
illegal
here.
to own some
5,
numbers. Did
yeah.
you know that? You're not allowed to own
What?
some numbers because they're like codes for things,
That's weird.
right?
Let me start with these, for instance. Like we made squares. Like a 1 by 1 would be 1, right? A 2
Right.
by 2 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So 1, 2,
4,
3,
yep.
4.
2 times 2,
Yeah.
yeah.
And notice that we always use the same colors. Like we'd say, like Roden says, the 1, the 4, and the 7 are the male numbers, and the reason why is because they got these square forms. Like 1 has a an angle, a 4 has angles, 7 has angles, right?
They all have 2 numbers in between them too. 2 and 3, 5 and 6, 8 and 9.
Yeah, and then the 2, the 5, and the 8 are the female numbers, and the reason is because they have roundings. Like the 2 has rounding, a 5 has a rounding, and an 8
Yeah,
has
5's
rounding.
pentagonal.
Yeah,
Yeah, because 6 is hexagonal.
yeah.
So it's Crystallian straight, but a 5 pentagonal. Yeah, that's a house. That's where we sit.
See what happens here? Then the 3 by 3 here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is basically your keypad. You know.
Yeah, it's
And see what's going on here. So they're all lined up now. So you got your male here, your female, and your 369, and
Look
they
at the
add up.
straight bars. They get straight on that one set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So there's no diagonal. And you got opposite 45s on each side of that, like for movement up or that way or that way.
yeah.
That's and that's a tropic pole on that one. I can't see that too good. What's the straight line ones represent?
Let
9
me
by 9 grid.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
No shit.
yeah.
Columns.
See, and a 6 by 6 also lines up.
Yeah, checkerboard. Yeah, 6
So
by
the
6
three,
does, but it's different
the
colors.
3, the 6,
That's
and
our
the 9s, they
DNA.
all line up.
That's the sex.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's your 2 DNA strands, and then your bar, your monad, your single pole is your 9. because that's all the same color.
Yeah, so
And then you're
the 3 and the 6, they're basically like a DNA surrounding the 9, like.
yeah, look at the 3. The 3 is in bars and the 6 is in bars.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the 3 and the 6 here? We've got kind of alternating color, and then the 3 is only one set. So you've got one individual, and then you've got them coming together in the 6, right?
3's
Oh, see
kind of
what
like your
happens there?
foundation too, right?
3 is a
Yeah.
foundation. Yeah. It adds the blue. It's the first position to add the blue.
Yeah, and the
Right.
369 really, the black and the white.
396, 396, 639, 639. You see?
Nice.
And notice how we got these numbers, because this is why I put these together, because it shows you, like, it has 6 by 6, right? So it's 6 here, and then you go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But a 12, for instance, 1 plus 2, and this is why we always go back to the root number, they equal 3. And this is why there's a 3 over here, you see? And a 1 plus an 8 equals a 9. This is how we got to these patterns here.
That's cool.
And
Man,
so
that's
we
great
made
work.
this all the way up to 15, or we went pretty far with this.
Love to see 12.
Yeah, 12 would be pretty neat.
Yeah, well, I can show you. Or a 10 by 10 we made here.
10 by 10.
But yeah, we should see what prime things, because that's prime's always so interesting.
And then what we did is we would put these together, like 3 by 3, and then would make 3 of these 3 by 3s by 3 by 3. So it's actually a 9 by 9 here. So
2 is the first prime number, isn't it?
Well,
'Cause
2 is the
1
doubling, the doubling circuit.
Yeah. 2 is the doubling, yeah, or the halving.
Or the halving, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, look, is this the
Fabric.
10 by holy shit. Those ones have wavy ones on them.
Yeah, actually, they're not lined up right, because they should be like.
What did you get it to do that? How'd you get it to create the waviness, though? That's kind of cool.
We just put them beside each other, you see, but they're actually not right, because these sides here, they should overlap, and then they are not waves anymore. They are like straight lines here, and then they're wavy in the sense of when you zoom into them. Let me try and do that for you guys.
It's interesting if you're in regards to your question, Barry, like that could just be, that's kind of displacement, and since it sounds like it's not correct, it's user error displacement.
Right, so it's
They're
almost
not
like our
correct.
reality has an error in it, because I see when I look at our grid patterns of like the way pretty much our magnetic lines move across the lands, like it looks like that. They're all distorted. They're not straight bars, so it's almost like we require error in order to live in the field of it. Like,
No,
I don't know.
actually, these should be like on top of each other. Like these are 1 on this side, and there's a 1 on this side. There's a 2 on this side, and a 2 on this side. So they should overlap. And if you overlap those, and we tried this, then they all line up, and then you get a wavy pattern in the 1, 2, 3, 4 diagonal here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines. So the quantity decides the amplitude here. So
yeah.
see where this is going, like a wavy
Cool.
in this diagonal line here, and there's a wavy pattern in the horizontal line here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. And we found some interesting stuff with 7. 7 doesn't seem to line up at all.
Ooh.
7
we
holes.
Couldn't get it, yeah, we couldn't get the 7 to line up.
Prime number.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's a number
Just
above.
Like
it's above orientation.
It's right before the octave completion.
Right. Interesting.
And the 8 was also interesting because it's you see a 10 by 10, and the 8, they are opposites, you see.
Hmm.
So
Oh yeah, that's neat.
and an 8 represents infinity, right?
That's Mercury opposite. Like
Yeah.
that's
And 8
neat.
is
That's
basically
neat.
two zeros, right, on top of each other.
Yeah, it is.
So but also an 8, the mirror
It's
number of
nothing
8
divided.
would be
Oh, that's
the
nuts.
mirror
8 is
number.
nothing divided.
Yeah,
Nice.
plus one thing is there's one. One is the whole. Like if you say I got one apple, you got a whole apple, right? So that's
Yeah,
one
yeah,
thing. That's the whole. That's
yeah,
but it could be the whole infinite, right?
yeah, yeah.
And then
Infinite
if you got
hole.
an 8, yeah, if you got an 8, that's the opposite, right? That's the mirror number of 1 because 1 plus 8 equals 9.
Right.
So get this real quick. That same person who was telling me about the holes, that was what the show she initially watched it for, and they were talking that a hole is not a hole without something around it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
interesting.
no, but also the whole thing, the whole apple,
Mm,
not only the whole,
right.
like a whole, but also the
Same
whole
sound,
apple.
I know.
Yeah,
Wahole.
like a
Wahole.
circle. It's a whole circle.
Yeah,
Infinite.
I can see that.
A circle could have infinite divisions, right?
Right.
This
Really
is like a
can.
circle. Circles are
Nice.
basically an 8 on top of each other. The
In terms of the, because you go 90, 180, because 160. So that half spot, that 180 through the center is the particle, and then the 360 looks like the wave, like that move from the particle to the wave, instead
Yeah.
of the wave eating the particle.
Yeah, we gave it different colors so you could see the wavy pattern better. Like the weight of the number would be the color, so you could
Nice.
see the wavy pattern here. And oh, we tried so many things. Here's your
Yeah, the toroid. Nice.
toroid. We even found that these numbers work in toroids. You know.
Nice. Definitely psychedelic. Uh-oh.
Wow.
Oh, I got disconnected. Alright. I think he got kicked off.
Did I get kicked?
I don't know. The stream stopped. Or his stream stopped. I got kicked off of there. Well, real quick, but not to cut you off, but we've been on for a while. So, did you want to do any pulls for the people, Barry?
Yeah. Let me rejoin real quick here. I just
Yeah. Take it easy.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for sharing that. That's really awesome. Do you do any divination, and would you like to draw something?
How do you mean? I don't understand what you mean.
Oh,
So,
we do
like
some
tarot
tarot,
cards,
yeah,
or
tarot or runes, or I don't know,
dice rolling, just some.
guts, entrails, whatever you're feeling. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
no, I really don't understand what you're saying, man.
I'll start us off. You can watch one of us here, and then you'll get it just by seeing it.
Okay. So it's a game or something, or what is it?
No, it's divination. So what we're gonna do is we have a deck of cards, like
Yeah.
of tarot cards. So
Yeah.
there's, I think, 72 cards in the deck,
Yep.
Yeah.
and we're just gonna shuffle them blindly, and we're gonna ask a question. So I'm shuffling them in my hand right now,
Okay.
and I'm gonna pull. I'm gonna just pull. I usually do one card, and then we'll talk about the meaning. So the question's gonna be, let's see, where are we at? We just went over the summer solstice. Let's take a look at. I want to. What I've been wanting to know is they're coming up with a bunch of concerts and shit for the fall. Like, I think there's like a record amount of like venues happening, and it's everything's landing in September. And I'm really suspicious to, like, what do they need more time to get the vaccinations in everybody? Are they going to be doing some kind of like
Yeah.
events? Because you got to think that's like magnet shit in people. So when they get a bunch of magnets together, I think that can affect change in the weather and many things. I think it's like a
Yeah.
power tool for them. So I don't know what they're planning, but I can see that they're placing everything in the fall position. So let's pull a card to kind of show us what's in the works right now. Maybe, what's going on? What is that all about? Why are they, trying to bait us for that moment out there? So here I am pulling it. Ooh, I got the judgment card. I'm gonna take a
Oh,
picture of that.
nice.
Here, you can it's probably quicker for you, Todd, to just
Sure.
Google the judgment card image and just pop
Yep.
it on there.
Will do.
Thanks, brother.
You're doing the
So
rider weight this time?
yeah, right
Okay.
away. Yeah, classic.
Yep.
So that's pretty interesting, and that was my actual gut feeling behind this was that they were setting this up. They were setting us up to let us free during that judgment moment, like during this. There's some cosmic importance coming up because what you need to do is first you need to target the exact location of the moment that you're trying to fuck up. Okay, so 9/11, for example, would be when the plane, or the holograms
Sure.
happened and the
Yeah.
news happened pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Whatever
The
happened,
news.
happened.
The news happened.
So that was the event, but there was planning up until the event. They had to create their story before then with possible nukes in Saudi Arabia. They had to have an enemy because it was going to be them that did it themselves for specific reasons as well, astrological reasons, in order to instill fear among the people with certain powerful positions at play in order to create seeds that they want to harvest and, also reap fruit that they've planted prior.
Yep.
Anyways, so what we've got here is we've got the judgment card pulled. It's the 20 card, the XX card. So
That's the rune we got last week.
right, I know it. So we've got on the card itself, we've got an angel with red wings. So right away, that tells me infrared light, Mars energy, unseen, pretty much the unseen movement. And that is going to hit us and make a sound. So it's going to create an image, something special. So something special relating to Mars, related to the infrared heat, to related to dryness is going to be happening with these events. So not very emotional, which means people could get caught up in the air and the excitement and the fire. Just having a good time, letting everything go loose, and not having much. Maybe just letting desires kind of go free, not having control over their water too much, and you can tell on this card no one's paying attention to the water, and they're all sitting on the water, which looks like coffins or
Yeah.
boats. I mean, it looks like
Boxes.
coffins,
Yeah. I've
and
heard
they're all
that's what they're
gray.
supposed to be. Yeah. They're people supposed to be coming out of
See,
their coffins, pretty
see,
much.
they're all gray,
Well, sounds to me like
and
people that are jabbed.
right, right. So I mean, they're all
Whoops.
gray. They don't have any color. So they don't have what they don't have is they don't have sorry, color was they don't have any monad impulse. Okay, their monad impulse is centered. It's not on the black or the white. Black is behind, white is in front.
They're
So they don't even
NPCs.
have. There's no orientation. Okay, so these people are pretty much, and then we have notice the blonde hair, the golden hair. So and then also the golden hair on the angel above. So your judgment is going to match whatever you judge. So this shows the connection to that which is judging to your own self right here. Okay. But the thing that's judging has some other colors with it, of course. We already talked about the red feathery wings that lifts you up. And then we've got kind of a light blue long sleeve cloak. And then we've got a horn with which looks like a Swiss flag on it, which is pretty much the white, the pure white, with once again the red cross, which is that Martian energy right there. And where we at, this looks pretty summertimey. Everybody's naked. So no clothes, that's another big thing. Judgment, it's not going to see your image, your reflection, that which is outside. It's going to see your bare, what your berry, right? Berry sine waves. It's going to see what you've buried. It's going to see what sine waves you've been eating. It's going to see your aura. You're going to speak loud enough without saying anything. You don't have to say a peep. Everything will be known, and it's going to be you that judges yourself. It's not going to be some magical sky god. It's going to be pure knowledge. It's probably going to be some kind of grand event. I've always seen this kind of event coming. Something happens, a light switch flips, all of a sudden we have our full capabilities and everything see through. You can see what everything is 100%. And this event is what kickstarts the upcoming revolution, because it doesn't last for long. It lasts for 3 hours, just long enough to
Mhm.
be undeniable, and everybody experiences it. Every skeleton in everybody's closet is visible. Everybody can see who everybody is, and you can't hide. It's like X-ray vision spiritually, so literally you can see everything in one waking consciousness moment. You're a reflection of it.
Everyone
And
has
I
the
think
same
that
dream.
right. And I think that they want to take down as many with the ship as they can. Like, I've been
Yep.
listening to these festivals. They all have tons of alcohol related. I just listened to this one they're having this summer, late summer. It's at the art museum. The whole minute ad talked about the 200 flavors of beer, the beer gardens, and the food. Not one mention about art, like in live music, which is art, but
That's funny.
essentially it's just these are all drinking festivals.
Yep.
And I mean, and I get it, like, I mean, it's good to be in joy, be in good fellowship, have a good time, but I can just tell they're trying to we're still in critical waters. We're just coming out of a Jupiter Saturn conjunction. You can still feel the weight. You can still
Yeah.
feel that tension. It's there in the background lurking. This whole thing wants to snap, but there's some kind of eternal flame burning in you that just can't get extinguished, because it would have been extinguished a long time ago with a lot of the shit that people are going through. And it's about to get a lot nastier with the when this housing situation pans out, because we have a big chunk of America that hasn't been paying their rent for the last year plus, and they're going to have some $20,000 bill in a small settlement claims court issue going on somewhere, because they thought just because they weren't allowed to evict them that they didn't have to pay their rent or something, and they just went and spent it on, like,
Yeah,
toys
tattoos.
or
I heard tattoo
yeah,
parlors are like
right.
massively booked. That's
Right.
crazy,
I
man.
mean, it's going to be so they milked us up. They got us, they made everything rich. They flooded the market with helicopter money, and they're pretty much now going to pull the plug on it, and everyone's going to look back on all of that and wish they had made better decisions with it, because now things are a lot different. A lot of people think the dollar is going to get destroyed, and that very well could happen, but what if it's the opposite way real quick for a little while? What if they make the
Mm.
dollar something that is they choose it over life? Like, they're gonna make you live on the street. The sheriff's here. Nope,
Okay,
all
let
your
me
shit
ask
needs
a question. Who's to blame?
it's responsibility, and it's going to come down to every individual. That's why I said you're only going to judge yourself, and there's going to be those there that can help you. There's going to be compassion there to pick you up, and I think this is where the real revolution happens, because 9/11 was really a compassionate event. That backfired on them. Instead, I mean, they had, at that moment, the whole world came together. Even though it was all fake and staged, the world still came together, and they had compassion for something. So they made their choice. They chose that they cared about, what had happened deeply. And other events in the world have happened like that too, with, the person standing in front of the tank in China. There's so many famous moments where we just have these grand compassionate moments, and I think that's what we're about to have, is a big a big compassionate moment. The last one we had was the big 9/11 one, and that happened right after the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, right about where we're getting into coming up this fall. It'll be about the same degree separation, getting about 1 sign away, and they're going to disconnect. It's going to snap. So they were conjuncted, sharing the same field, and now once they're going to get 1 sign apart from each other, it's going to do a positive negative switch, and they're going to go into different polarities. The bubble's going to pop, and then the literal bubble is going to pop with the markets.
And
Things
we're
are
going
going
to
to
go
just.
from negative to positive, or from positive to negative?
So they're going to go from negative to Jupiter's going to spring into the positive, while Saturn's going to stay into the negative. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an ego release. So the Jupiter going, and I think, and this is all tropical too. If we look at sidereal, it's the opposite. This all happened in Sagittarius, so it's been in a very positive outbursting energy. And you can almost see that a little bit with the mutable fire, the sound. Everybody's listening to what they're told, And I mean, not really, but mass consciously wise, like it's a time of structure following the rules, which is what Sagittarius represents. Opposite is Gemini, who's the rule breaker. So you've got rule structure following. Everybody's afraid, oh, there's a sign up in this store that says I got to wear a
Yeah,
mask,
not
all these.
everybody.
Not everybody, I know it, and not anymore. You're seeing it shift, which we're not in those times anymore. So we're moving out of that energy. So the real sidereal energy coming up is a Saturn Capricorn and a Jupiter Aquarius. So you're going to see a pan energy, I think, a real pan energy of form. So these are our two form kings right here, Jupiter and Saturn, and we're going to see our new birth of form. So whatever. How the 60s was birthed, and you had this type of form to the 60s, and then you had this type of form to the 70s and 80s. And so we're going to get our form. We're going to get our defining moment of this now that we're going to live off of and suckle for the next probably up to 2030. And then
Yep.
2030 has a lot of energy associated with it, with a lot of different circles. So we're probably going to see a halfway event when we hit the Jupiter Saturn opposition, which is when we're supposed to be in division. So right now, when they come together, that means we're supposed to be coming together. We're supposed to be joining up as one. And what did they do? They separated us out from away from each other. So what do you think they're going to try to do when Jupiter and Saturn are opposed and they're supposed to be in their two separate areas of influence? They're going to try to bring them together. So that's probably what will happen in 2030. It'll be a fake coming together event, like a fake either world government or one consciousness, some kind of new
Religion,
religion,
probably.
new spiritual thing.
Yep.
It's going to be a religion science. They're going to come out with all these proofs that this religion science is blah 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 blah, and
Yep.
it's gonna be their final play.
Oh. Oh. I think Barry got kicked off. Hold on, everybody. Give us a second. Or did I get kicked off?
No, you're still here.
Okay. I messaged Barry. He'll reboot. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talking about this, very similar vibes in the coming
Hey, Bubba.
months. Hey, dude. You got kicked off for a
Yeah.
minute.
Sorry, man.
All good.
So no, I was just finishing up that judgment card, I guess. So we've got pretty much, we've got a lot of Mars in this card. We've got which Mars is going to be Scorpio over there in the fall. So I'd say that time, October-ish, watch out. They're probably what they're going to do. They're going to have a badass September, a badass August, a badass July. We're going to see 3 months of let loose, let all your desires run free, like in the Pinocchio movie when you go to the little boy world underneath and they're all smoking cigars and, just I forgot what that land was called, but it was the Misfits or something. I don't even know. Anyways, no, it was something different. But anyways, it was a place of splurge, like where you did all the things that you're not allowed to do. So I think that's what they're going to set up right here coming up, and then it's showing us judgment with a lot of Mars, and then it's showing us that this judgment sees us naked. It sees us really naked, gray. So from the center of our white and black, which is gray, so really from the center of our choice of pretty much, because a front and a back is orientation. So to have orientation, the Orient stands for the West, the Occident is the East. So to Orient, I'm sorry, that might be opposite. Um,
Yeah, I wonder about that because isn't the Orient we usually think of like, China,
East, yeah, I'm
Asia,
sorry,
whatever.
yeah. Or
Mm,
okay, so the Orient, I'm sorry, is the ascendant, is the East. So it's pretty much coming down to um orient yourself, really know your stars, know your strengths and know your weaknesses. We hit a lot of astrology tonight with your chart, Todd, and we'll do a lot more. I'm
yeah,
going to we'll walk through your houses maybe next time, and
sure.
we need to talk about what each house means, like, and we'll,
Yeah,
we'll overlay it with how a plant grows, how a plant gets its first leaves. It's tender in the beginning, it's dangerous, but then it sees a lot of other new things growing, but then it kind of gets some color and it can see that it's different than other things, which is your fourth house, your family. So you can see that you're a specific type of thing, and then as you work over to the seventh house, that's relationships. So that's going to be the forest that you're in. You're going to start to understand how you interact with the things in your environment. And then the 10th house is going to be your exaltation, your harvest. What kind of fruit do you bring to the table? What's your mission? What's your job? And then all the way over to the 12th, the very end, the same like the ascendant is that birth and that beginning. So it's in the seed. The 10th is where it has its seed. It has everything. It's got the seed, the fruit, the green leaves, the full growth. It's at its height. And then it deteriorates right there and goes off into the pretty much the fixed air, which is that the dreams. That's the dream stage, and the dreams are what impregnate the new blueprint coming up. And whatever dreams are allowed, are which are aligned with the universal plan, are they slip into the cracks and they come here, and that's why me, you,
like
or
lightning.
we're all, yeah, we're all here, like you said, like lightning. We're all here because of that. That's our I mean, we all fell into our shapes and it's like oh, okay, hey man, you're getting called. You're going to have to come manifest right here in a sec. You better get ready. Like it's going to pop right here, and that's you. And boom, I mean,
Pop.
coming out, like, I mean, that's pretty much the story. Like you qualify for a type of being, and that's just who you are. You're an aspect of the all qualifying for a certain perspective, and they're all beautiful. Let's
Yeah.
get to the next
So how much
roll.
influence do we have to change this?
We have that's a great question. Free will. I believe this is the seat of will. So all will everywhere in the cosmos stems from the heart, stems from earth, stems from the seat of choice. So the whole point of this system is to hone in your choice. And the
Does
choice,
it need to be collective or?
individual and collective. So
Yeah.
individually first, and then collective, and then in relationships, and then in a world collective. So you want to do yourself, then do your family and household, do your neighborhood where you live, and then work out into just bigger things until you get to the world consciousness stage. And you need to heal each of those. It works from the center out, and you are always your own center.
Yep.
And we all have a part of the center, and we all have a center. We all look from a certain spot, so that's how you know that the all is in us all. We all have a center. So sent her, that's where she's at. And anyways, you our choice here, the way, like, for example, the whole vaccine thing is an attack on the choice system. Okay, so notice it's not quite forced. They're making it kind of more forced by taking your job away in some areas if you don't get it, but for the most part, it's still something you can choose to have in your body or not. I understand some parts of
Exactly.
the
Or is
world
it
are
us
different.
accepting these
There's a
choices.
lot of accepting, and this shows you the irresponsibility of people with their choice. So if
Hmm.
you take choice recklessly and you don't really think about what you're about to do, then that's going into your blueprint. So when it's time and all the light is going to go where it's supposed to go based upon whatever blueprint you built, you're just going to head off into a certain arc, and that's just, you built it. So I mean, you're not going to be able to blame anybody. It's going to be your doing. So it comes down to just, people understanding, and this is what the lifetimes are for. They're for honing yourself in. They're for going through multiple processes of working out the impurities that you want to call impurities, not what the person next to you. An impurity to the person next to you might be an antidote for you. That's how beautiful this whole entire system is. There's no good or bad. There just is, and there is not.
Yeah.
And those are really both contained within the same thing right here, like that whole nine in the center. And it's a beautiful, it's the first movement. We're learning how to pack a seed with information. If you think
There
about
is
the
good and bad.
nature, if
And
you
there's
think
also
about
black
the
and white. There's light and there's darkness.
right, right,
These are the opposites. These are the three and the nines. The seven and
right,
just the mirror. But then they
it
need
really
to have,
really is.
without darkness there wouldn't be any light, right?
That's exactly right. And that's what Mars is supposed to represent. It's the knight in shining armor. And that's why Mars exalts in the sign of Capricorn, which is the darkest time period here. So it's the shade from the eternal light. I mean, if we didn't have that shade, we wouldn't have any of this. We're beings of both realms. We're the dark and the light. All right, I'm rolling two dice. I got Cancer on the astrology, and I got Saturn on the planet die, or this wandering star die. So we got a Saturn and we got Cancer, which is a debilitated Saturn right now, folks. So the opposite of Cancer is Capricorn, where Saturn's very strong. So when Saturn's in Cancer, this is a time when Saturn needs to stand down and let Jupiter do its job. You're in Jupiter's world right now, moving into tropical Cancer coming up. So let expansion happen, let sense happen, let human happen. This is a time to be a human. This isn't a time to be a god. I mean, we're always gods and creators in a sense all the time, but this is the time to be a human. It's very much a sensual time. It's a time to hone in your fine details and all these, tiny little areas everywhere to gain new inspiration, to gain you're going to get new gifts, new gifts of light right now, new friendships, new experiences and consciousness that you've never felt. These are all things you should be absorbing right now. And Saturn is duty. So when you put duty on hold, that means vacation, relax, nurture. Treat yourself to some relaxed time, I mean, it's, if anybody else is anything like me, it's been go, 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 go. Like
Yeah.
trying to keep up with this beast. I mean, so just, and I got a couple weeks coming up. I'm gonna run down to Florida to pick up my little girl. Then I'm going out west to Idaho, pick up my boy, and we're gonna go camp a little bit
Nice.
and just get some relaxed time and just go enjoy the mountains. And that's what it's all about. I mean, when you leave here, you are going to look back and hold with you the feelings of the experiences that you downloaded. So those are going to be your sets of images that you're going to be able to create from. So give yourself a big reservoir to pull from. Go sit on this beautiful spot and just soak it in and just make it perfect. Set it all up, make everything perfect, dial it in and just soak it in, and that's going to be one of your honey holes that you have inside of you to just go there whenever you just want to go chill and relax as a eternal being. You created it. You earned it. So,
Mm.
and then even the worst of the moments, those are all beautiful gifts. Those are all, if you didn't have that pain and that suffering, you would stay in that environment. You wouldn't know anything was wrong. So that's all there for growth. You would never grow without pain and suffering. So it's required to grow.
Yeah.
And we all go through different levels of it. I've just in my lifetime, my levels of pain and suffering are always shifting. And it's depending upon me when I can get over my circles. When I stop getting mad that my car's breaking every other week and I got to learn how to do another dumb fix and look up some stupid video and waste all my time, I keep getting the circle come back around at me because I haven't learned the beautiful lesson that I'm trying to show myself yet. And it's more important to me cosmically to learn the overall larger lesson than it is to have to spend time when I'm a human fixing these things all the time. And then once I calm down and just learn to love it, it goes away.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's
Hmm.
crazy. I just, I'm like, you know what? This is such a coincidence universe. I can't wait for the next thing to break. I'm pretty much, this is honing in my investigation, my research skills. I started just thinking about all the, all the positive things. Like I'm first of all replacing these parts that, probably needed replacement anyways. And this could have caused a serious problem at X, Y, or Z location. So, I just started to see the overall blessing of it happening on a better watch than it could have,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was nice. It felt a lot better. And when I started approaching it from that angle, it just went away and oil changes and new tires and yeah. And I have so many circles like that, like relationships. I hit a lot of those circles. If I start getting any kind of defensive or it's this blah 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 because it's the truth, or if I try to act anywhere out of like logos and reason, or if it's right or right, it doesn't matter. It's just all wrong in a way. Like for me,
Yeah.
it doesn't gel. Like it's just a reflection and it's gonna reflect back what I'm giving it. So if you just calm down and be relaxed and approach
Breathe.
any situation and non-rage or love or attack, don't feel like a victim. I mean, it's much better, and then those circles go away. They don't come
Okay.
at you anymore
Yeah, man,
because
please. Man, you can talk.
yeah, I know it. I know. I'm sorry. All right, let's flip the next Todd, give us something, brother. Yeah,
Uh,
we're rolling on time too. Shoo.
yeah, we'll do this and then let's pack
So
it
what's
up.
this? You're on a show right now, or what? Are you a
Yeah, we're
show or
Yeah, it's a
streaming.
podcast. Yeah, it's a podcast.
okay. So no visuals.
No, it's usually only 2.5 hours long, but we have I guess a special night episode tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, we do have visuals actually. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, what's the show on then?
Alright.
Where is it on? Where can I
It's
see
on
it?
YouTube. If you go on the, are you in the Tartaria chat? You probably are.
I think so.
It's
Third
in
Terry was
delicious divination, so you can find it in there. Not dessert. Oh,
just drop a link, then I'll have a look at your channel.
well, hold on, bro. We're doing this right now. All right. So we're gonna go with the standard. Show us what we need to see. Obviously, we got a lot of input from Barry on features. I think it's very interesting because yeah, I kind of feel as though the summer is sort of being set up to give everyone that breath of air, but if you're not actually listening to what's going on in the world, it's there's like obviously a lot of things trying
Seems
to
like a
move.
trap. Big trap,
Right,
man.
yeah, exactly. Trap is the good word for it, but
There's real fun out there then. I mean, there's probably some trap ones, and then, it would blow me away. I really hope they don't try to do any kind of like big event on, shit like that. I mean, because you're going to have hundreds of thousands of people in the same
uh,
location. So it just screams, you know, manipulation. But go ahead, Todd.
so Barry. So this is the Tarot of the Spirit deck. Now, I know we did this before. And this image, I'm gonna put it up so you can take a look at it. This is a. Oh yeah, I can't post pictures here either. All right, I'll post it in the chat. So this is the mystery card, and
Okay.
this is
What
this is
yes.
card number 73 out of 72. I don't even remember where it is in the book, but it's basically you will know what it means when you see it. That's what they say. I
That's
think it is.
incredible.
I think it's Da'ath though. I think that's what it represents.
Got 6 rings.
Let me see.
That's
Here.
incredible. 73 is such a special number too. The angle of light right there, the
Right.
137, 173.
Here it is. An additional card, unlabeled but recognizable by its inverted yellow triangular shape, is the mystery card. It can be viewed as the master card of the deck, the overarching card of spiritual realization, which contains the concepts of birth, death, and karmic transition. That's a judgment card, right?
Yeah, it sure
Over
is.
time, this card's meaning becomes clear. That's what it says about that in the book. I definitely think it represents the idea of Da'ath and then the projection of the monad into not only the emanation of the spiral coming out with that inverted J, but you also end up with the cross, which I think is probably what could be the horizon, unless it's the horizon down
Yeah.
at the bottom, which is below at the pyramid.
Yeah, that J's awesome. The black and white monad down there is that choice pulse system, and then that's what springs your mind. That births your mind. So whatever choices you make here, that's birthing your light, your father, your mind, and then pretty much that's gonna go up. It's hitting that big infrared Mars system right there, and that's right before you just hit that black Saturn. I mean that just nothing be lack where you are on pure magnetic energy at that point right there. And that purple right there, man,
Purple
is pretty
represents the 9.
right. So you've got the red and the blue coming together, and that's balance right there. The J is the symbol of balance. And we've pretty much got is that an 8 in the center divided by the black bar? Look at that. That's pretty neat too. And look at the top of the J is open with a white line shooting right up through a little dome up there too, man. That's an intense symbol.
So
Absolutely.
I drew it the opposite way. My bad for not noticing that because I'm looking at a lot of things. But I just posted
Oh
a
wow,
picture
yeah.
of the thing with the overlay, so you can see that.
Oh, I like that. I like that right there, Todd. That shows you that black sun coming off the top of the golden pyramid triangle, like an
Right.
emanation. That's
Yes.
incredible.
Right. Yeah. Definitely seems
And
like the reality
ether is
maker.
the top, and ether is the top of the magnetic spectrum. That's incredible. And then whatever brother or the 1 6 in the center is where the magnetic spectrum densifies, and you can see it, and as everything is gold, a form of gold, which reflects. That's incredible. That's a great overlay right there. And then
Yeah.
those two bases, and then the sister is outside in front on the white, reflecting. And that whole world is the inside world unseen. And you've got her outside in the semicircle that's coming out, extending beyond the black out ahead in the present before it gets there. That's cool, man.
Nice.
What a pull.
Excuse me. Well,
Heck yeah.
um,
Wrap it.
yeah, you guys good? I think we got it all.
Yeah, I burnt my food in the oven, so I'm
Oh
gonna go.
no.
Yeah, it's
Shoot.
okay. It's not bad. It's edible. I'm pretty sure. So we're good.
Thanks a lot. How do I say your name? Ahara?
Ahura.
Ahura.
Ara.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah, it's been a
tuning in, bro.
pleasure. It's been a
Mr.
pleasure,
Yeah,
brother.
Master.
nice meeting you guys.
Thank you for showing us the numerology stuff. I mean, I saw quite a lot that exposed me to. It triggered some things, so I needed to see that. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, show me the link to your YouTube channel and I'll have a look.
Yeah, sure, man.
I'll put
Cool.
it in the chat, then it's fine. I'll find it.
Awesome. Well, Todd, have a
Cool.
good
Nice
night, and
talking to you
Herpa,
guys.
have a good night.
Yeah,
And everybody,
thanks.
thanks for tuning in who tuned in tonight, and much love.
Have a good
Yeah.
one.
Episode 15 next week.
Ooh, good one.
Yep, that is a good one.
Yeah,
Alright.
thanks everybody.
Sound
Bye.
Check. Thanks.
Thanks for
Thank you.
tuning in, Brett.
Yeah, I've been
Hey,
holding it down.
Brett. You gotta
Next-
tone it down over there, man. You're too loud. I love you, Brett.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. Wanted to
Alright,
come in
y'all.
for that last one.
Say goodnight, everybody.
Night.
All right.